Naruto God Level System, Chapter 201-220. Chapter 201 Still Single. Ueno-sensei, long time no see. Kushina greeted with a smile. Kushina has become beautiful. I almost didn't recognize the teacher. By the way, where is Makoto? Ueno-shuri glanced around, but did not find Makoto's figure. Then Ueno-shuri looked at Hyuga-chen, and said in a very bad tone, "Chen, you kid didn't abandon Makoto, right?" How come? Makoto didn't come, how could I abandon Makoto? Hyuga-chen looked at Ueno-sensei silently. Yes, your relationship is so good. Ueno-shuri scratched his head, his face a little embarrassed, looked at Naoki next to him, and quickly changed the subject. This is Naoki's uncle. Come in quickly. Hyuga-chan and Kushina laughed again, especially Kushina, who couldn't straighten his back. What are you laughing at? Ueno-shuri was very depressed. Ueno-sensei, I'm Naoki. You taught me for so many years, when did you hear that I have an uncle? Naoki said resentfully. Naoki. Ueno-shuri was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and said, Impossible, didn't Naoki already die in the Second Ninja World War? Anyway, Ueno-shuri doesn't believe that this is Naoki, not to mention that according to his understanding, Naoki has died in battle. Just looking at Naoki's appearance, Ueno-shuri also doesn't believe that this is Naoki. Ueno-sensei, he is really Naoki. Hyuga-chen said with a smile, and at the same time told Ueno-shuri about the reason why Naoki didn't die. So you were saved by Chen, but why didn't you go back to Konoha? Ueno-shuri finally accepted that it was Naoki. However, the question asked by Ueno-shuri made Naoki silent. Sensing that there was something wrong with the atmosphere, Ueno-shuri quickly changed the subject and said, Naoki, why have you changed so much? Naoki was even more silent, and there was still a little sadness in the silence. Can he control things like appearance? Ueno-shuri looked embarrassed and comforted. Naoki, you don't have to be sad, you just matured a little earlier, and it's not uncommon to be placed in the land of thunder. That's right, Ueno-sensei is right, there are a lot of stupid people in the Kingdom of Thunder. Hyuga-chen patted Naoki's shoulder to comfort. Naoki almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Did he compare him to a big stupid man? Is he really stupid? Ahaha tilde today, our teachers and students finally got together, and the teacher invites you to have a delicious meal. Ueno-shuri gave Naoki a ha-ha, so that Naoki could think about it for a while and thought of suicide. Ueno-shuri is very happy today. It is good news for him that Naoki is not dead. When he learned that Naoki died on the battlefield, Ueno-shuri was alone for a long time. Ueno-sensei, are you still single now? Hyuga-chen asked. A thunderbolt hit Ueno-shuri, making his original good mood all disappear. Hyuga-chen. Ueno-shuri glared at him fiercely, the three words single dog, but a knife hit Ueno-shuri's fragile heart. Looking at the teacher's expression, I know the answer. Hyuga-chen chuckled. Ueno-sensei, are you almost 40 now? You haven't married yet, tisk tisk. Kushina shook her head. Ueno-shuri felt a big blow, his heart seemed to be slashed by an invisible blade, and it was very painful. Naoki and Ueno-shuri walked in the front, Hyuga-tatsu and Kushina followed, both of them didn't want to see the pair of loving dogs. When I came to the barbecue restaurant, Ueno-shuri also asked a little about Hyuga-chen and the others, and told them about Shikaku and Minato. Tomoko is actually with that sissy. I can't believe it. Kushina's eyes widened. Ueno-shuri was speechless. Although Minato was a bit of a girl when he was a child, but now he is the famous little son of Konoha. Go and find out. Half of the whole Konoha knows Minato, the dream god of most little girls. Ueno-shuri said. Is Minato so famous? Naoki asked curiously. He and Minato were at the same table. Of course, as Sanin's apprentice, his strength is strong and his smile is bright, so Minato's reputation in Konoha has spread widely. Now Minato seems to have joined Anbu. I haven't seen him for a long time. Then Ueno-shuri looked at Hyuga-chen and said with a complicated expression, if Chen had not left Konoha, his reputation would have been greater, and he might have become the next Hokage. Hyuga Chen shrugged, just didn't leave Konoha, and with his character, wouldn't be Hokage. Looking at the indifferent Hyuga Chen, Ueno Shuri shook his head and said nothing more. After eating and chatting for a while, Ueno Shuri left. He is now the vice principal of the ninja school, and his affairs are very busy. Yesterday, Hyuga Chen and the others did not find Ueno Shuri because he was busy with school affairs. Let's go back. Naoki looked at Hyugatatsu and Kushina. Go back to the hotel by yourself, Kushina and I are going to go shopping. Hyuga-chan refused. Then I'll be with you too, just to take another look at the beautiful scenery of Konoha and see if Konoha has changed over the years, Naoki said. Never mind. Why? Naoki asked in surprise. Because we don't want to be followed by a big light bulb. I don't think you like dog food either. Hyuga Chen explained the reason. Forget it. Naoki shook his head quickly. When he just ate the barbecue, he was fed a lot of dog food, but he didn't want to continue eating. Why did Shuri Ueno leave so quickly? Because he didn't want to continue eating dog food. Naoki left by himself, and Hyuga Chen and Kushina headed to the streets of Konoha. Compared to before, Konoha seems to be more prosperous now. Anyway, there are more people on the street than before. Chen, I want to eat takoyaki. Kushina pointed to the food stall beside him. But we don't have any money, so we can't rob it, right? Hyuga Chen spread his hands helplessly. Should he be asked to rob takoyaki? He hasn't dropped that much yet. But I want to eat. Kushina looked at Hyuga Chen with pitiful eyes. Seeing Kushina's appearance, Hyuga Chen naturally softened, then reached out and took out 1,000 taels and handed it to Kushina. Didn't you say you have no money? Where did this come from? Is it the private money you hid? Kushina asked, holding the brand new banknotes. Do I need to hide my house money? Kushina, you are looking down on me. Yin and Yang can create all things, let's understand. Hyuga-chan said with a proud face. You're so irritating, like the masked kid you met at the noodle shop. Kushina snorted softly, then bought a box of takoyaki. Forked one and handed it to Hyuga Chen's mouth. Your reward. Hyuga Chen opened his mouth to eat. How? Kushina asked expectantly. It's okay, but not as good as Makoto's. Hyuga Chen commented. Really? That's all for you. Kushina shoved all the takoyaki into Hyuga Chen's hands. Hyuga Chen was speechless. No wonder he gave it to me first. It turned out that he wanted me to try the taste. Chapter 202 Open a ninja shop. Seeing that you are so prosperous, I can only find a way to make some money. Looking at the large and small bags in his hand, Hyuga-chan sighed helplessly. Isn't Yin-Yang Escape able to create everything? Still need to make money. Kushina turned around and said. It feels like this is meaningless, and this kind of money has no soul. Hyuga-chan shook his head. Hey tilde hypocritical, does stolen money have a soul? Kushina pouted. Hyuga-chan was embarrassed by Kushina's words. Then how do you want to make money? Do you want to rob? Hyuga-chan gave Kushina a contemptuous look. With my character, Hyuga-chan, how could I do such a rude thing? Kushina is depressed. Who gave you the qualifications to make you despise me? Do you have character? I'm going to open a ninja tool shop. Back then, I was in a parallel world, and I got a lot of ninja tools. It's useless to keep them. Let's sell them, Hyuga-chan said with a light cough. Steal or rob? Kushina asked indifferently. Why do you speak so badly? What was stolen? Obviously I took it. Hyuga-chan said dissatisfiedly. Kushina's mouth twitched. Does that make a difference? Did someone else open the door for you to take it? Let's go and make a shop. He did what he said, and soon Hyuga-chan made a sum of money by using yin and yang to get a good location in the commercial street of Konoha. I just said that the money created by yin-yang dun has no soul. Isn't it slapped in the face now? Kushina asked. Why not use such a convenient ability? Hyuga-chan took it for granted. Kushina was speechless. Could it be that all the words he just said were fed to the dog? How can you be so shameless? But Kushina also knows that Hyuga-chen said that he opened a ninja shop just for fun. Maybe he opened a shop today and won't do it tomorrow. I didn't go back to the hotel, I just stayed in this store. The store is not small, with 2 floors up and down. Each floor has more than 200 square meters. The upper part is where I live, and the lower part is used to open a store. The next morning, Hyuga-chen and Kushina had breakfast in the system space, and then called Makoto out to help decorate the store. In fact, the decoration was completed by Hyuga-chen alone. Makoto and Kushina were just giving their opinions. After all, women are better than men in decoration. In one morning, the decoration was completed. After all, there is a yin and yang escape, and what is needed will be created. Then after lunch, it opened in a low-key manner. Although the opening is very low-key, because the location of the store is good, it is also seen by many people. A new ninja shop has opened here, why haven't I heard anything before? Who knows? It's none of our business anyway. We are not ninjas, we care about what the ninja shop does. The onlookers were discussing. What are you doing? Kushina asked suspiciously, looking at the busy Hyuga-chen. Of course it's making billboards. The ones I put up before are too ordinary to attract anyone at all. How about the billboards I'm making now? Hyuga-chen held up the billboard to show off his achievements to Kushina. I saw the image of Uchiha Madara on the sign, holding a dark and sharp sickle in the left hand, the 6 paths tin stick in the right hand, and Gunbai Uchiwa on the back, very majestic. It also reads, everything has a ninja tool shop, and Uchiha Madara is a family endorsement. How is it? With the name of Uchiha Madara, the business should be very good. Hyuga-chen said with a smile, he wanted to consume Uchiha Madara. The name is too old-fashioned. Kushina complained. The name doesn't matter, it's old-fashioned. Hyuga-chen walked out with the billboard, then removed the billboard with only a few large characters and replaced it with this one. After changing it, the effect is still not ideal, and the name of Uchiha Madara does not seem to be very easy to use in Konoha. Hyuga-chen was lying on the counter very salty. Kushina and Makoto returned to the system space, and now he is alone in the entire store, very boring, and there is no one to chat with. When Hyuga-chen was about to fall asleep, someone finally came to the store. Hyuga-chen looked up, and then lay down on the counter again. Chen, why are you here? Naoki asked in surprise. He was wandering on the street, and he was a little curious when he saw this ninja shop. Then he came in. He didn't expect to see Hyuga-chen. It's weird that I'm here. Shopping. If you don't buy it, you'll leave. Hyuga-chen lay on the table and said lightly. Why is the tone so aggressive? I heard that this store is newly opened. Did you open it? Naoki said depressedly. Nonsense. I didn't drive it. Could it be you drive it? Hyuga-chen turned to Byakugan and said. You opened a ninja shop after a day without seeing you. You are amazing. Naoki gave Hyuga-chen a thumbs up with a look of admiration. Seeing Naoki complimenting him, Hyuga-chen changed his original dislike, and looked at Naoki's eyes a lot more pleasing to the eye. You don't know my abilities yet. What does it mean to open a ninja shop a day, or build a village a day? It's a trivial matter. Naoki's mouth twitched as he looked at Hyuga-chen's lack of modesty. Seeing that Hyuga-chen wanted to continue talking, Naoki interrupted him, pointing to the row of ninja tools and saying, don't you want to introduce your products? Hyuga-chen, who was originally happy, immediately pulled his face down. What are you introducing? These ordinary kunai and ninja knives are marked with prices. You can't afford real good things. Hyuga-chen said with contempt. How do you know I can't afford it? I'm rich now. I gave you all your money. Don't I know how much you have? This gun by Uchiwa from the Uchiha family costs 1 billion taels. Can you afford it? Hyuga-chen took out a big fan, put it on the table. Naoki's face turned Yuhi's face. He really couldn't afford 1 billion taels. This fan is a little better than the ordinary fan. It sells for 1 billion yuan. You are cheating. Naoki said loudly that he really couldn't accept the price of 1 billion taels for a fan. Ignorance, you are still a member of the Senju family, and you don't even know the treasure of the Uchiha family. Hyuga 2.8 Chen glanced at Naoki and said. Naoki went around Hyuga-chan's store in a depressing way, and found that the quality of the ninja tools here is really good. They are all high-quality items, and the price is also acceptable. Naoki took 10 kunai and 5 shuriken. It's taking care of your business, so settle the bill. 10 pieces of fine steel are worth 10,000 taels, and 5 lily swords are 7,500 taels. Since you are the first customer in my store, I'll give you a discount, and I'll count you 18,000 taels. Really, I feel like my math is still good. Naoki looked at Hyuga-chen with a blank face. The total amount is only 17,500 taels. If you discount it now, it will be 18,000. This is fooling. Ghost. Stop talking nonsense and pay the money quickly. Hyuga-chen said impatiently. Naoki paid the money depressed and said angrily, if you do this business, it will close within 3 days. Chapter 203 Shop Bully. There's a new ninja shop here. But the name is real. Mitarashi Anko said in amazement. Uchiha Madara endorsement. Who is Uchiha Madara, a member of your Uchiha family? Sarutobi Asuma asked Uchiha Obito. Uchiha Madara was very unfamiliar to them, who had just entered school. Uchiha Madara is the senior of our Uchiha family. His strength is very powerful. According to legend, he is comparable to the first generation of Lord Hokage, but he has been dead for a long time. It is estimated that this shop is deceiving people under the banner. Uchiha Obito pouted. Go in and have a look. Anko ran into the ninja shop first. Don't you want to eat barbecue first? Speaking of barbecue, Obito's mouth drooled. As an orphan, he didn't have much money, so it was only enough for him. Today, Asuma invited them to eat barbecue. Obito was very excited, and he had no intention of going to this gimmicky ninja shop. But Asuma and the others had already entered, and even Rin, whom he had a crush on, had entered, and Obito had no choice but to enter the store. 12 Hearing someone coming in, Hyuga-chen, who was communicating with Naoki, turned his head and glanced at them, and then lost interest. A group of 5 or 6-year-olds, how much money can you expect them to have? Huh, isn't this the handsome big brother we met that day? Anko reached out and touched Kurenai Yuhi, surprised. Also surprised were Nohara Rin and Obito. They were also surprised when they saw Hyuga-chen. Of course, Nohara Rin was surprised, and Obito was just upset. Someone is coming, why don't you go to entertain? A group of children can't afford expensive things, just let them choose. Hyuga-chen leaned back on the chair lazily. Looking at Hyuga-chen's lazy look, Naoki complained, I think you are lazy, so don't make any excuses. Hyuga Tatsu did not deliberately lower his voice, so Sarutobi Asuma, Uchiha Obito and the others heard Hyuga Tatsu's words. Immediately, they felt unhappy in their hearts. Are they looking down on them and thinking that they have no money? Take out the most expensive thing in your store, I want to buy it. Sarutobi Asuma said proudly, and at the same time glanced at Kurenai Yuhi secretly, but unfortunately Kurenai Yuhi did not look at him, which made Sarutobi Asuma a little disappointed. Originally Sarutobi Asuma wanted to pretend to be a force to impress her sweetheart. Unexpectedly, the sweetheart didn't look at him at all, but instead looked at the abominable ninja shop owner. You can't afford it. Hyuga-chen glanced at him lightly, with contempt in his eyes, and then Hyuga-chen looked at the others. Looking at the outfits of the group and their slightly familiar appearance, Hyuga-chen can also guess their identities. Like the Great Apes, the kid who clamored for him to come up with the most expensive things must be Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the 3-generation-old guy. The old guy from the 3rd generation is almost 50. Unexpectedly, there is Asuma, a 5-year-old son. Why can't I afford it? You take out the most expensive thing and take a look. Sarutobi Asuma said unconvinced. Hyuga-chen glanced at him lightly, and then a golden sword of light appeared in his hand. The most handsome Hyuga-chen in the ninja world is the same Tiankong Yunjian, priced at 1.5 billion. Who is Hyuga-chen? Enko asked curiously. I am Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen smiled and pointed at himself. Everyone looked at Hyuga-chen speechlessly. The ninja world is the most handsome, really narcissistic, but there is indeed capital, a few little girls thought in their hearts. And Asuma, they were very upset. How can this flashlight-like sword be worth 1.5 billion? You are clearly a murderer. My father is Hokage. I want to tell my father to let him close your shop. Asuma said angrily. It's no use telling your father. My Hyuga-chan's knife is worth this price. Don't ask questions if you don't have money, it's a shame. Asuma's angry face rose to Yuhi's incomparable expression. That big brother, this is your kunai. Nohara Rin took out a delicate kunai from the ninja bag and handed it to Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen shook his head. Since it's given to you, you can take it yourself. If you don't want it, give it to someone else. For example, these three little loli next to you. Hyuga-chen smiled at Mitarashi Anko, Kurenai Yuhi, and Azuki Yugao next to him, making the three little loli faces Yuhi's. Seeing this, Naoki pulled Hyuga-chen on his body and whispered, You guy, shouldn't you be interested in these little girls? Hyuga-chen gave Naoki a disgusting look. I'm not pervert. Then why are you smiling at them? I rarely see you smiling at me. Naoki said resentfully. Hyuga-chen got goosebumps, hurriedly shook off Naoki's hand, and took a few steps back in disgust. Was it really guessed by Kushina that Naoki really has pervert's hobby? He also stared at me, a handsome man. At this moment, Hyuga-chen had the idea of turning him into ashes. Why are your eyes so unfriendly? Is it because I said it? I knew you were a pervert, lolicon. Naoki exclaimed. At this moment, Hyuga-chen could clearly feel that the people in the store looked at him differently. The expressions of the little girls were shy, while the little devils were contemptuous and vigilant. At this moment, Hyuga-chen wanted to kill Naoki. His glorious image was completely destroyed. What are you doing? Want to hit me? Naoki looked at Hyuga-chen vigilantly. Haha tilde I didn't expect you to be a little self-aware. Hyuga-chen sneered, and then smashed Naoki out with a punch. Whatever you want to buy, hurry up. If you don't buy it, get the hell out of here. It's you bastards. Hyuga-chen yelled at Asuma and the others with a bad face, and then changed to a soft smile at the four little loli. Hyuga-chen treats men and women with different standards. Yes, Hyuga-chen is a double-standard dog. How can a shop owner like you still want to bully customers? Sarutobi Asuma grimaced. His status is equivalent to the prince. In Konoha, everyone does not say that everyone is respectful, but he will also give him some face. Actually, 3 generations. Ouch. You really think of yourself as a god. Since you said that my shop is cheating, is it worthy of your words if I don't do it? Hyuga-chen had a cold smile on his face. You can buy this Tiankong Yunjian if you buy it, or buy it if you don't. Hyuga-chen swung the sword around Sarutobi Asuma's neck. I'm asking you, do you want to buy it? Hyuga-chen released a slight murderous aura, but just this murderous aura almost scared Sarutobi Asuma into the urine. The icy cold air enveloped him, and the other party was as terrifying as a demon. Sarutobi Asuma knelt down with a plop, and he was already petrified. Buy or not? I buy. Sarutobi Asuma said in tears, scared to cry by Hyuga-chen's cold murderous aura. Chapter 204 Anko. Asuma is pitiful, what does it have to do with me? Boom, boom, boom. Come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was working, said without looking up when he heard a knock on the door. The door was pushed open, and a ninja wearing a cat face mask walked in. First salute Sarutobi Hiruzen, and then said, 3 generations of Hokage-sama, Hyuga-chen opened a shop in Konoha Commercial Street. Huh. Sarutobi Hiruzen finally raised his head and said indifferently, didn't I say, as long as he doesn't do things that endanger Konoha, leave him alone. But your son Asuma entered his shop, and there seems to be a conflict. Anbu Ninja said quickly. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up suddenly. Hearing the news, he couldn't sit still. Else, he quickly left the Hokage office and hurried towards the commercial street. 3 generations of Hokage-sama, I haven't told you the address yet. The Anbu shouted quickly, but Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't hear him. In Hugachan's ninja shop, the atmosphere froze for a while. Sarutobi Asuma knelt on the ground, crying unsatisfactorily. Others did not dare to speak at Hyuga-chan's power. Suddenly Hyuga-chan put away his momentum, looked at Sarutobi Asuma with a smile on his face, and reached out to help him up. What are you doing? The customer is God, there is no reason for the customer to kneel. If this spreads out, it will be bad for the reputation of my shop. Hyuga-chan said with a smile on his face. This little brother really made a lot of money. I sold Kong Yunjian to you for 3 billion today, which is really cheap. Isn't it 1.5 billion? Sarutobi Asuma was stunned for a while, then returned to his senses and said angrily, doubled it all at once, which is to slaughter him. That was before, now the price has gone up, don't you want to buy it? Hyuga-chan's gentle smile gradually solidified, his eyes were cold. No, I'll buy it, Sarutobi Asuma said sullenly, and at the same time decided that he must tell his father about this and seal the store. Ha, that's right, although the customer is God, but for me, only the person who actually bought the thing is God. Hyuga-chan laughed. It's so bullying. Kurenai Yuhi looked at Hyuga-chan, feeling that he was going too far, and at the same time despised Asuma. He was so embarrassed that he softened after being frightened. So handsome, really handsome, the way he bullies people is so handsome, and I will bully people like him in the future. Enko looked at Hyuga-chan longingly. From today, this handsome guy will be her whole life. The idol. Kurenai Yuhi looked at Mitarashi Enko speechlessly, her 3 views seemed to be crooked. Don't you think this is hateful? Don't you think Sarutobi Asuma is pitiful? Kurenai Yuhi decided to break Enko's distorted view back. I don't feel bad. Sarutobi Asuma is pitiful, what does it have to do with me? Enko asked suspiciously. Kurenai Yuhi is at a loss for words. What you said makes a lot of sense, I'm at a loss for words. Nohara Rin shook his lips, then stepped forward and said softly, Big brother, you are doing this wrong. How do you know I'm wrong? Nohara Rin was at a loss, not knowing how to answer. Hyuga-chan, have you been reduced to bullying children now? A deep voice came. When Sarutobi Asuma heard this voice, he immediately became excited, turned his head to look at the door, and shouted excitedly, Father! I said, call me 3 generations of Hokage outside. Sarutobi Hiruzen taught. At the same time, he looked at Asuma carefully, and when he saw that he was not hurt, his heart was completely relieved. I am reduced to a beggar, and I am also Hyuga-chan. Hyuga-chan said lightly. This is the knife that your son bought. I don't think he can afford it. You came just in time. Pay him. Father, the 3rd generation of Hokage, this is completely his extortion. He actually costs 3 billion for a knife. You quickly seal his broken shop. Sarutobi Asuma shouted loudly. Because his father's 3 generations of Hokage came, Sarutobi Asuma's confidence came back. Shut up. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Sarutobi Asuma. If it wasn't for him, what would have happened? He must be taught a good lesson after returning. Sarutobi Asuma looked aggrieved. Obviously he was bullied, and his father who was Hokage didn't help him, and even scolded him. 3 billion is too expensive. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a frown. Anyway, your son bought it. Hyuga-chan said roguely. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent for a while, then said, 3 billion will be delivered to you soon. He really doesn't want to have a conflict with Hyuga-chan, so if he suffers, he will suffer. Pinched his nose. The Sky Kong Cloud Sword is yours, welcome to come again next time. Hyuga-chan threw the Sky Kong Cloud Sword in his hand to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said with a smile. Without saying a word, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the golden Amazuma Cloud Sword in his hand, then stretched out his hand to grab Sarutobi Asuma and left. After Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Mitarashi Anko and the others breathed a sigh of relief. The momentum of the 3 generations of Hokage just made them dare not breathe loudly. At the same time, they also admired Hyuga-chen for being so calm in the face of 3 generations of Hokage. What are you looking at? Do you want to buy it too? I'll sell it to you at a cheaper price. An identical Tiankong Yunjian appeared in Hyuga-chan's hands again. This. Isn't it already given to the 3 generations of Hokage-sama just now? Kurenai Yuhi, Uchiha Obito and the others were already stunned, and even Kakashi, who had been silent for a while and was out of tune with other people, had a look of shock in the eyes of the dead fish. Who stipulated that there is only one Tiankong Yunjian? As long as you want to buy it, I will have as many as you want. A Tiankong Yunjian also appeared in Hyuga-chan's other hand. Tiankong Yunjian is just the name of a move of glitter fruit. To put it bluntly, Tiankong Yunjian is compressed with photons. This kind of thing is as much as Hyuga-chan wants. Moreover, in the hands of others, the Tiankong Yunjian will only become weaker and weaker, and finally completely disappear into photons. After all, Tiankong Yunjian will continue to consume energy. Because Hyuga-chen has a high degree of development of the glittering fruit, this process can last about 10 years if it is not used. If it is used, it is uncertain. A group of little devils looked at Hyuga-chen with contempt. In their eyes, Hyuga-chen was cheating, and he even dared to sell it at such a high price. It was simply crazy for money. Looking at the little devils who didn't understand, Hyuga-chen shook his head. His Tiankong Cloud Sword can now cut through the sacred tree. Even if the time to use it is limited, it is definitely worth 3 billion. You little bastards, if you don't buy it, go out, including the 4 of you little loli. Hyuga-chen waved his hand and issued an order to evict the guests. I want a good knife, don't know if you have it here. Hatake Kakashi, who has always maintained a cold look, said lightly. Chapter 205 isn't missing Nin a Ninja. If you want a good knife, what price do you want? Hyuga-chen showed a funny smile on his face. If I can take out 100 million taels, what kind of knife can I get? Hatake Kakashi asked in silence for a while. 100 million taels. Hyuga-chen touched his chin and thought for a while, then took out a knife that Hatake Kakashi was very familiar with. This is a white fang short blade. How can you have a white fang short blade? Hatake Kakashi couldn't hold his icy look any longer, and asked in shock. Is this important? 100 million taels can only buy the white fang short knife, do you want it? Hyuga-chen chuckled, and then placed the white fang short knife on the counter. Hatake Kakashi reached for it. He was sure that the short knife was definitely a pirated copy, and the real white fang short blade was in his father's hands. However, he took it over and looked at it for a long time, and he didn't see any difference from the real one. It even seemed that the short blade was more real. Hatake Kakashi glanced at Hyuga-chen, then entered the thunder attribute chakra. A flash of thunder light flashed, and the penetrating power of the originally sharp blade became stronger. Hatake Kakashi swung hard, and slashed the counter with the short blade of thunder light. With a crisp sound, the counter did not show any scars. You should be glad that my counter is specially made, otherwise you should go to the hospital to sell blood now. Hyuga-chen said lightly. Looking at the undamaged wooden counter, Hatake Kakashi frowned. It can't even chop wood. This knife must be fake. Uchiha Obito shouted. You can't talk nonsense, or you stick your head out and I'll give you a knife to see if it's true or not. Hyuga-chen took out a white fang short blade again, and gestured towards Uchiha Obito, which made Uchiha Obito quickly shrink his head. Hatake Kakashi frowned even more, and said coldly, why do you have so many white fang short blades? Hyuga-chen raised his eyebrows, feeling that the current Hatake Kakashi, just like the character of the second Jinchuriki column Sun, is very ill-fated. Little devil, this is now. If it was a few years ago, the person who dared to speak to me like this would be taller than you. Wow, so handsome brother was very powerful back then. Mitarashi Anko stared at Hyuga-chen tightly. Hyuga-chen smiled proudly. Of course, I was the legendary leader of the ninja world at the time. No one dared to obey the orders of the ninja world. Even the 3 generations of Hokage had to look at my face and act. When I stomped my foot, the whole world trembled. Haha tilde tilde. The corners of everyone's mouth twitched. This is a bit nonsense. Where did the Ninja World Alliance Master come from? Did you seal it yourself? Seeing that everyone didn't believe it, Hyuga-chen said lightly, ignorance, if you don't believe me, you go out and find out my name, Hyuga-chen. No one in the entire ninja world doesn't know, and no one doesn't know Akatsuki. We don't know, Anko said softly. Hyuga-chen's mouth twitched, and then he coughed twice. That's why I said that you are ignorant, and you have never even heard of my reputation. When you go back, ask your fathers, which one of them is not trembling under my prestige. It's true, I almost believed it. Uchiha Obito pouted. I believe, Lord Hyuga-chen, can you teach me? Azuki Yugao little lowly, who had not spoken, looked up at Hyuga-chen, with admiration in his eyes. If it is said that the only person who knows about Hyuga-chen is the little lowly of Azuki Yugao, because his father is someone who has seen the strength of Hyuga-chen, is a crazy admirer of Hyuga-chen, and often tells Azuki Yugao something about Hyuga-chen. Therefore, Azuki Yugao also became a small fan of Hyuga-chen, but he didn't expect to see Hyuga-chen, so he never reacted. Yugao, are you crazy? He's the owner of a ninja shop, not even a ninja. You actually worship him as your teacher. Moonlight Hayate coughed a few times. Hyuga-chen looked at this Moonlight Hayate, who had been a tickler since he was a child, dissatisfied. He tilde ignorant kid, actually said that I'm not a ninja, it seems it's time to prove it to you. Hyuga-chen took out his old ninja forehead. Have you seen it? I'm the famous missing nin. How dare you say that I'm not a ninja? Open your eyes and see, isn't missing nin a ninja? Hyuga-chen said proudly. Everyone was startled, but they didn't expect that Hyuga-chen was actually a missing nin. Cough cough tilde you are a Konoha missing nin, how dare you? Cough tilde open a shop in Konoha, I will tell Hokage-sama to arrest you and see how arrogant you are. Moonlight Hayate said while coughing. Hyuga-chen was a little worried when he looked at him like this. He won't be able to get up in one breath, then hang up. Hyuga-chen didn't care about his life or death. What he was worried about was that Moonlight Hayate died in his store, and someone died in his store on the first day he opened. How unlucky it was. Azuki Yugao's expression changed after hearing this. He glared at Moonlight Hayate fiercely, then looked at Hyuga-chen worriedly and said, Lord Hyuga-chen, are you okay? I didn't expect you to be good, so I'll accept you as a disciple. Hyuga-chen said in surprise, but he didn't expect this little lowly to be his own die-hard fan. In fact, Hyuga-chen is still very surprised when he sees Azuki Yugao. According to the original book, Azuki Yugao should have just been born. Really, Azuki Yugao looked excited. But at this time, there is someone more excited than him, that is Moonlight Hayate, but he can't breathe right now, and he can't speak at all. Lord Hyuga-chen, should we leave Konoha quickly? Azuki Yugao asked nervously after the excitement was over. No need, didn't you see that the previous 3 generations of Hokage didn't say anything? Hyuga-chen reached out and patted Azuki Yugao's head, feeling that this little lowly was a little stupid. That's good. Azuki Yugao nodded his head. The breathless Moonlight Hayate, and the others were stunned. 3 generations of Hokage know that you are missing nin. Why didn't they take you away? Kurenai Yuhi asked curiously. Why am I answering your question? Is it because you are little lowly? Hyuga-chen said lightly. Kurenai Yuhi stomped angrily. Don't talk about those useless. Do you want to buy this short knife? Hyuga-chen looked at Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi stroked the blade, touched the blade lightly in his hand, and the sharp cold light left a gap on his finger. From this, Hitaki Kakashi also judged that this short knife should not be fake, but he didn't know how the other party got so many white-fanged short blades. In fact, the white-fanged short blade was created by Hyuga Chen with the yin and yang escape, and its power is the same as Hitaki Sakumo's white fang, even stronger. As long as it is not an item with extraordinary materials such as Six Paths Tin Stick and Gunbai Uchiwa, Hyuga Chen created it with yin and yang, and it will not be weaker than the original. However, the Six Paths Tin Stick, Gunbai Uchiwa and other ninja tools are only 80% powerful at most. Even if they are made, the materials are different from the genuine ones. Chapter 206 People who don't value their companions are trash no matter how strong they are. I don't have that much money now, can I give it back to you later when I have money? When Hitaki Kakashi said this, he couldn't help but look at Yuhi. Fortunately, he was wearing a mask, so he couldn't see it at all. A black line appeared on Hyuga-chan's forehead. Does this mean he wants to pay on credit tilde or is he paying in installments? Give me out if you don't have any money. I'm running a small business here, so I do and take credit. Hyuga Chen grabbed Hitaki Kakashi and threw him out. Boss, do you have 1,000 copies here? Kurenai Yuhi asked. Glancing at her, Hyuga Chen said, sorry, I don't have embroidery needles here. If you want to buy them, go to another place. Kurenai Yuhi's angry face turned up. Yuhi, is this sentence, this expression, despising her? Do not. I should despise all the ninjas who use thousands of books. I'm really angry. Why do you have such a poor service attitude, and I still treat you as an idol? Enko complained. If you want me to have a good service attitude, the key is that you have money. I am looking for money to entertain customers, and I will understand it with a snobbish eye. Hyuga-chan said lazily, leaning back on the chair. I am so angry. Seeing Hyuga-chan's attitude, Enko pouted. Hyuga-chan took out a scroll and threw it to Azuki Yugao. There are some ninjutsu here. Since I have accepted you as a disciple, I naturally have to fulfill my responsibilities as a teacher. You should take a look first and ask me if you have any questions. Hyuga-chan said. The shop is about to close, hurry up and leave. Hyuga-chan pushed everyone out, and then closed the door with a bang. Hey, don't close the door, Naoki shouted from a distance, who ran over wet, but the door was already closed, making Naoki look depressed. He was kicked far away by Hyuga-chan. He thought he would fall to his death, but he didn't expect to fall into a lake, and now he climbed ashore and ran back. Hey, uncle, you know the nasty boss inside? Uchiha Obito asked. Naoki touched his face. Shouldn't he be called Big Brother? Of course I know him very well, we are classmates and friends in a class. Naoki said rather depressingly. Hee tilde uncle, are you treating us as fools? Are you classmates with that hateful shop owner? Uchiha Obito looked at Naoki with contempt. Not necessarily. Maybe this uncle is the tail of a crane like you, and he has a lot of subordinates, so he is a classmate with Boss Shuai. Enko said without caring about Naoki and Obito's emotions. Naoki and Uchiha Obito seemed to be struck by a bolt from the blue, and the words, the tail of the crane, and, repeat, directly crushed them. I'm not the tail of a crane, I'm a genius, and I'm 18 this year. Naoki turned away angrily. If it weren't for their young age, Naoki would have to beat them up. 18, are you fooling a ghost? I think 38 has it. Enko whispered. Enko's words attracted the approval of his friends. Huh, where's Kakashi? Only then did they realize that Hitaki Kakashi was gone. I think it was because I was thrown out by that abominable boss, and then I had no face to stay here, so I ran away. Uchiha Obito said gloatingly. Because in the class, he and Hitaki Kakashi are two extremes. As long as the genius Kakashi is mentioned, the crane tail Obito will be mentioned. So Uchiha Obito was very upset when he saw Hitaki Kakashi, and often went to provoke him, but Kakashi didn't slap him at all. At this time, Kakashi looked down on Obito at the end of the crane. Kakashi was not found. All of them went back to their respective houses. It was getting late, and the guests had also left. Kakashi, who was mentioned by them, had already returned home at this time. Looking at his father who had already prepared the meal, Kakashi was no longer arrogant. Kakashi is back, get ready to eat. Hatake Tsukumo said with a smile. White fanged short blade on the table, Hatake Kakashi's eyes narrowed, and then he walked over and pulled out the short blade, and found that this short blade was exactly the same as the one Hyuga-chen sold, no different at all. Kakashi, what's wrong? Hatake Tsukumo looked at Kakashi, a little strange. Father, do you know Hyuga-chen? Hatake Kakashi turned his head and asked Hatake Tsukumo. Hatake Tsukumo's movements were abrupt. Where did you hear the name? Hatake Tsukumo asked, frowning. Hyuga-chen betrayed Konoha. He issued a gag order for everything about him. Even if someone talked about it, it was only a private discussion. Father, you know, Hatake Kakashi asked quickly. Hatake Tsukumo looked complicated, and finally nodded lightly. Hyuga-chen became famous in the Second Ninja World War. He is very strong. Don't ask more about it. Hatake Kakashi's heart froze, and it was definitely not easy to make his father call him strong. Where did you get the name? Hatake Tsukumo asked again. He's in Konoha, and he also owns a ninja shop, and he has a lot of white fang knives in his shop, exactly like his father's, Hatake Kakashi said. Hatake Tsukumo was silent for a while, then said, you better not approach him in the future, he's not a good guy. Remember, people who don't value their companions, even if they are strong, they are waste. Just like Hyuga Tatsu looked down on Hatake Tsukumo, Hatake Tsukumo also looked down on Hyuga Tatsu. Their two ideas were fundamentally different. Hyuga-chen, who knew that Hatake Tsukumo would commit suicide, looked down on Hatake Tsukumo's cowardly and aggrieved appearance, and Hatake Tsukumo also hated Hyuga-chen's slaughter of his fellow villagers. I have a very important task tomorrow, and I need to go out for a while. After Hatake Tsukumo finished speaking, he lowered his head and ate silently. Although Hatake Kakashi still has a lot of questions to ask, but looking at his father's appearance, he can't answer, and can only eat depressed. After eating, Hatake Kakashi looked at Hatake Tsukumo seriously and said, I want to apply for graduation. Hatake Tsukumo frowned, and then said in a low voice, no, you haven't entered the ninja school for a year, and you haven't learned a lot of things. Even if you become a ninja, you are still an unqualified ninja. Ninja is a high-risk profession, and as a father, Hatake Tsukumo doesn't want his son to graduate early and step into danger. I've learned everything about ninja school. It's boring to go to school with a bunch of kids who don't know anything, so I want to graduate early. Hatake Kakashi said stubbornly. Ninja is not a family, you are not strong enough, stay silent in the ninja school for a few years. The life of the ninja school in the future may become the best memory of your life. Hatake Tsukumo shook his head and refused. My strength is already very strong, and continuing to stay at the ninja school will only waste time. Hatake Kakashi is not reconciled, he thinks his strength is enough, even in the face of graduate genin, he is confident to defeat. Chapter 207 Goodbye Ino Shikacho. Kakashi stubbornly wanted to graduate early, but of course Hatake Tsukumo disagreed, and the two father and son broke up in the end. In the system space, Hyuga-chan had breakfast with Shueheim and Konan went to practice. After getting the frozen fruit, Konan has been very diligent. Shueheim was bored and went to instruct Konan to practice. As for Makoto, Sarah and Kushina, who couldn't sit still, took them to travel around the world. Hyuga-chen yawned, left the system space, opened the store door, and started today's business. However, few people came all day, and Hyuga-chen didn't care. He opened this ninja shop just for fun, even if there were no customers, it didn't matter. It was almost noon when an Anbu ninja came here, left a huge money box, and left immediately, as if Hyuga-chen was a wild beast. 3 generations of Hokage have sent money. Hyuga-chen suddenly regained his spirits, opened the money box, and looked at the banknotes inside, showing an expression of money fans. Damn it! Why so much money? Naoki walked into the store and looked at Hyuga-chen who was counting the money, shocked. With Naoki came the trio of Ino Shikacho. Are you getting rich? Yamanaka Inoichi said in surprise. Of course, you made a fortune. How did you get together? Hyuga-chen asked. Meet him on the street. Is he really Naoki, to be honest? Yamanaka Inoichi asked in a low voice. In fact, he was a little suspicious of this big man who suddenly appeared in his heart. Didn't Naoki die in the Second Ninja War? Even if he didn't die, he didn't look like Naoki. If Naoki hadn't said something about the ninja school back then, they wouldn't have given him a shot. Of course it's Naoki, but he looks a little mature. Hyuga-chen said with a forced smile. Why are you back to Konoha? Tsunade, Sama, and Makoto and the others. Why is it just you? Nara Shikaku found a stool and sat down, then asked. Didn't Kushina stay with you before? Naoki looked at Hyuga-chen with a puzzled look. Kushina took Makoto to visit the ninja world. Tsunade is now giving money to which casino? Conan is practicing seriously. How about the three of you? Do you have a girlfriend? Hyuga-chen looked at the three of them with a subconscious expression of superiority on his face. Looking at Hyuga-chen's somewhat hateful face, the three shook their heads and said, no. A woman like that is a problem. Nara Shikaku said with a yawn. Alas. Hyuga-chen shook his head and sighed, a bunch of single dogs. Looking at your expression, I really want to hit people, don't you just have a few girlfriends? What's so good about it? Yamanaka Inoichi showed a rather unhappy expression on his face, and was very unhappy with Hyuga-chen's superior dog attitude. Nara Shikaku and Akamichi Choza didn't say anything about this. Nara Shikaku was too lazy to be outrageous. In his eyes, women were synonymous with trouble. Look at Akamichi Choza again, can women eat it? Seeing Yamanaka Inoichi's displeasure, Hyuga-chen felt relieved. Seeing how much money you've made, you're treating yourself to a guest today. Yamanaka Inoichi said blankly. Akamichi Choza heard the words and looked at Hyuga-chen with bright eyes. No problem, I'll treat you. Hyuga-chen replied with a smile. He walked out of the ninja shop with a few people, closed the door, and walked towards the barbecue shop. You've only just opened, so is it really okay to just close? Naoki complained. Hyuga-chen shrugged. This ninja shop was opened by him on a whim, it didn't matter. Led by Akamichi Choza, a big foodie, the group came to a luxuriously decorated kebab shop. This shop is new. Hyuga-chen looked around. He didn't remember Konoha's kebab shop with such a luxurious decoration. Yes, this place is indeed newly opened, and the taste of barbecued meat is first class, but the price is a bit expensive, so it should be no problem for you, a big rich man. Akamichi Choza said with a smile. This shop is really expensive, and even Akamichi Choza dare not eat crazy. Now that Hyuga-chen is a fat sheep, Akamichi Choza will naturally kill him once. Came to a luxurious private room and sat down. Yamanaka Inoichi couldn't help asking, Chen, why did you suddenly become a missing nin? When they knew that Hyuga-chen had become missing nin, their heads were a little confused. This thing involves the senior management of Konoha. The grievances between me and the three generations in Danzo are not small, and I can't tell for a while. Hyuga-chen said. Yamanaka Inoichi didn't understand. Nara Shikaku was able to guess a few points. Nothing more than that Hyuga-chen's strength is too strong, and he is not under the management of Konoha's top management. The rest is with the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan. His father had told him that Hyuga-chen sent the Sarutobi and Shimura families to the Pure Land in front of all the Konoha families. To do such a daring thing, if Nara Shikaku is Hokage, Hyuga-chen will definitely not be tolerated. Don't talk about this, it's Naoki, why don't you return to Konoha if you don't die? When we found out that you died, we were still sad for a long time. Akamichi Choza looked at Naoki dissatisfied. Naoki was silent, not wanting to say more. Okay, we finally met today, so don't talk about these useless topics. Come, let's drink, we won't go home if we don't get drunk today. Yamanaka Inoichi, who noticed that the atmosphere was a little dignified, raised his glass to change the subject. The others also ignored the topic and raised their glasses. Even eating, drinking, and nonsense, they had a meal from morning to afternoon, and at this time, except for Hyuga-chen, everyone else was drunk. I said you can still leave. Do you want someone to take you back? Hyuga-chen looked at the four of them. No, I'm not drunk yet, I can still drink 3 jugs of wine. Yamanaka Inoichi Yuhi said with a face and a big tongue. Ha ha, people who are drunk say that they are not drunk. Hyuga-chen looked at Yamanaka Inoichi with contempt, almost losing his footing, and said that he was not drunk. Yamanaka Inoichi's appearance, the others are not much better, and the rope 4.5 tree is better. This wine is not a good thing, you can't drink too much, your mind is confused. Nara Shikaku said shaking his head. Out to the barbecue restaurant, the Inoshika Cho trio staggered back. Naoki and Hyuga-chen said hello, and left as well. He didn't go to the hotel, he rented a house in Konoha the day before yesterday. Hyuga-chen went back to the ninja shop like no one else. This little wine was nothing to him. No matter how much alcohol he drank, Hyuga-chen wouldn't get drunk. After returning, Hyuga-chen opened the door, took out a reclining chair, and lay in front of the store to bask in the sun. She closed her eyes slightly and seemed to be asleep, but Hyuga-chen was actually chatting with Yuki-hime. The passers-by couldn't help but glance at him. First, Hyuga-chen was so handsome that he could attract attention wherever he was placed. Second, they felt that Hyuga-chen was very strange. He opened a store and went to sleep at the door of the store. Chapter 208 Orochimaru researched Tiankong Cloud Sword. In the Sarutobi family, Sarutobi Hiruzen held the Tiankong Cloud Sword and waved it gently, a golden light flashed, and the earth split into a huge crack. The past few days, Sarutobi Hiruzen has experimented with the Sky Kong Cloud Sword, and found that there is nothing that the Sky Kong Cloud Sword cannot cut open. Even the precious chakra knife specially made by Konoha can be broken with a touch. Just as Sarutobi Hiruzen put away the Tiankong Cloud Sword and pondered slightly, a footstep woke him up. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his head to look at Orochimaru behind him. Mr. Sarutobi's vigilance has dropped. If I attacked you just now, Mr. Sarutobi, you will be injured. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth and said. Seeing Orochimaru's movements, Sarutobi Hiruzen also felt uncomfortable. Namikaze Minato, not Orochimaru, will become the 4th Hokage in the future, and it is also related to his habitual movements. Compared with the sunshine, the popular Namikaze Minato has a gloomy temperament, and the Orochimaru like a viper is only scary. Sensei Sarutobi, what are you looking for from me? Sarutobi Hiruzen took out the Amakusa Cloud Sword and handed it to Orochimaru. This knife looks familiar. It seems to be the knife used by Chen-kun. Orochimaru's attention was all focused on the 12-day Kongyun sword. A sword made of golden light, Orochimaru has only been seen in the hands of Hyuga Tatsuya. This is his. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Then why did you call me here, sensei? Orochimaru asked, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen. I want you to study this sword of light. If it can be produced in batches, it would be best. Sarutobi Hiruzen directly stated his purpose. As Orochimaru's teacher, Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally couldn't be unaware of his disciple's hobbies and liked to study some things. Orochimaru reached out and took the sword, and when the tip of the sword touched the ground split open. It's really sharp. Mr. Sarutobi, how did you get this? Orochimaru asked curiously. Hyuga-chen came to Konoha and opened a ninja shop in Konoha. This sword of light was bought from Hyuga-chen. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't hide Orochimaru either, it wasn't a secret anyway. As expected of Chen-kun, Strength is self-will. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth again. If it were someone else, a missing nin would only be sneaky even if he went back to the village. Then Sarutobi-sensei, I'll retire first. Orochimaru said softly, and left in a hurry. He is in a hurry to go back and study the Tiankong Yunjian. After all, this is Hyuga Chen's weapon. It is impossible for Orochimaru not to be curious. Even Orochimaru secretly attacked the members of the Hyuga family, just to study Hyuga Chen's ability. In the face of Hyuga Chen's incredible strength, it is impossible for Orochimaru not to envy or want to get it. However, Orochimaru did not dare to attack the people of Hyuga main clan in Konoha, but only got a few corpses of Hyuga branch, but did not get Byakugan, which made Orochimaru feel a pity. Originally, Orochimaru didn't put Byakugan in his eyes, but now he can be sure that Hyuga Chen's eyes are the evolution of Byakugan, just like the 3 Tomo Sharingan of the Uchiha family who evolved into Mangekyo Sharingan. But Orochimaru didn't understand that Byakugan evolved into Tenseigan. This span is not comparable to the evolution of the 3 Tomo Sharingan Mangekyo. This span can be described as a step to the sky. On the way back, Orochimaru made a seal and secretly used the Shadow Clone technique to let Shadow Clone go home, while he was hiding in the dark. Not long after, an Anbu ninja was seen sneaking up on Orochimaru's Shadow Clone. Orochimaru, who was hiding in the dark, came out with a slightly complicated look in his eyes. Looks like Mr. Sarutobi doesn't trust me. Orochimaru is not sad either. As a person who never trusts anyone but only himself, he will not expect others to trust him. Turning around and leaving, he came to a secret base where only he knew the location. The equipment here was very advanced. Orochimaru first took out a lot of hard metal and began to test the sharpness of the Amakusa Cloud Sword. The test results were beyond Orochimaru's expectations and were reasonable. As expected of Chen-kun's weapon, the Kusanagi sword I got is far from being comparable to this sword. Orochimaru said with admiration. Next, Orochimaru's sleepless research, and finally after 3 days, he thoroughly researched Tiankong Yunjian. This is formed by the compression and aggregation of photons. Don't think that this is just a small sword. If all the energy in it is released in an instant, Orochimaru is sure that at least half of the Konoha can be erased. However, Orochimaru had no way of compressing the light into a cloud sword. Thinking of how Hyuga Chen had turned into a flash, Orochimaru shook his head and said, this is probably the power of Kekkei Genkai. Without Kekkei Genkai, there is no way to compress photons to this level. This knife is escaping energy all the time. Maybe it will disappear in a few years. What a pity. Orochimaru's face was full of pity. Now that the research is out, it's time to tell Mr. Sarutobi. Orochimaru smiled lightly, and left the secret research base. Orochimaru went home first, dismissed the Shadow Clone, and then walked from his home towards the Hokage building. Coming to the Hokage office, Orochimaru knocked on the door and walked in. Orochimaru, here you are. Have you researched anything about that knife? Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and put the document in his hand aside. Something has been gained. Orochimaru nodded, and then handed Sarutobi Hiruzen the research report and Amazumi Cloud Sword at the same time. Sarutobi 770 Hiruzen picked it up and looked at it. After a long time, he said, that is to say, this weapon cannot be copied at all, right? At least it can't be copied now, unless you find a blood ninja with a light escape, maybe you can make it. Orochimaru said lightly. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent. Light dun Kekkei Genkai, glittering fruit, no one has it except Hyuga Chen. Even if a light dun Kekkei Genkai is found, can he make such a strong sword? It's a pity. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. Even ordinary people can kill ninjas with this knife. If they can be mass-produced, then Konoha may be invincible. In the end, he took it too far for granted. But Sarutobi Hiruzen wasn't too disappointed, or he didn't have high expectations in the first place. This sword will eventually become a photon and disappear. That's right, Mr. Sarutobi, this sword is escaping energy all the time. Although it dissipates very slowly, it will eventually disappear. Orochimaru nodded affirmatively. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent on the face, without saying a word, and he cursed Hyuga-chen for being black-hearted, and buying a weapon with an expiration date for 3 billion taels is really too dark. Sir Sarutobi, the disciples are leaving. After saying that, Orochimaru left the Hokage office. Sarutobi Hiruzen put away the Tiankong Cloud Sword, sighed helplessly, and continued to review the documents on the table. Chapter 209 Teach Azuki Yugao. Lord Hyuga-chen, Azuki Yugao whispered. Hyuga-chen opened his eyes and looked at Yugao little lowly restrained in front of him. Don't call me Lord Hyuga-chen, just call me teacher. I'm not a man-eating monster, so don't be so restrained. Hyuga-chen reached out and patted Azuki Yugao's little head lightly. He didn't have any crooked thoughts about Azuki Yugao, and he accepted her as his apprentice because she was his little fan, so it was on a whim. But since becoming a teacher, Hyuga-chen will not be irresponsible. Old teacher, Azuki Yugao shouted excitedly with a small face. Yuhi. Yeah, have you read the scroll I showed you? Let's talk about it first. It's my first time to teach a disciple, and the level of teaching is unknown. Hyuga-chen said. I've seen it, but I haven't learned any of it. Azuki Yugao was a little embarrassed. Hyuga-chen with tears in his eyes, and said, Teacher, you don't think I'm useless and don't teach me, do you? Azuki Yugao was very afraid that Hyuga-chen thought her talent was too poor and would not accept her as a disciple. After Azuki Yugao said this, Hyuga-chen remembered that the ninjutsu he gave did not seem to be suitable for the current Azuki Yugao. The ninjutsu scroll that Hyuga-chen gave to Azuki Yugao, the worst ninjutsu recorded above are all B-level ninjutsu. For Azuki Yugao at this stage, B-level ninjutsu is too early. Azuki Yugao is not a genius. It is impossible for him to learn B-level ninjutsu at the age of 5. Even if Kakashi is a genius, it is impossible to learn B-level ninjutsu now. I was negligent. It seems that the ninjutsu I gave is a little inappropriate. Hyuga-chen scratched his head awkwardly and said. The current Azuki Yugao can't even learn C-rank ninjutsu. Hyuga-chen suddenly gave her a bunch of ninjutsu above C-rank. Can she learn it? Out the almighty sage body potion, Hyuga-chen handed it to Azuki Yugao. Drink it. Azuki Yugao took the emerald green potion and drank it without any hesitation. Then she felt that her whole body was enveloped by a warm aura, and the little chakra she extracted not long ago was rapidly increasing. Just a few minutes, Azuki Yugao's chakra has surpassed ordinary genin, and his body strength has also increased several times. This, Azuki Yugao couldn't believe it. Hyuga-chen smiled slightly. Since he decided to teach this disciple Azuki Yugao, Hyuga-chen will naturally not be stingy. Only 1 bottle of sage body medicine, Hyuga-chen has 3 bottles on him. There are some C-rank ninjutsu here, just right for you right now. Hyuga-chen took out a scroll again and handed it to Azuki Yugao. Azuki Yugao took it in a daze. She still hasn't woken up from the surge in strength. After a long time, Azuki Yugao looked at Hyuga-chen and asked, Teacher, do you know how to use swordsmanship? Of course, Yugao, let me tell you, your teacher my swordsmanship, you can't find anyone who can compare with me in the entire ninja world. I'm the second, and no one dares to be the first. Hyuga-chen suddenly became interested, and he was very excited, and told Azuki Yugao how strong his swordsmanship was. As Hyuga-chen's little fangirl, Azuki Yugao was fascinated by it. Then teacher, can you teach me? Azuki Yugao said with bright eyes. It's okay, but it's not easy to practice swordsmanship. It takes hard work, very hard work. Hyuga-chen stroked Azuki Yugao's purple hair and said. I'm not afraid of hard work. Azuki Yugao looked firm. Okay, come with me. Hyuga-chen separated out a shadow clone and asked shadow clone to watch the store here. He took Azuki Yugao to the Konoha training ground. Coming to a relatively remote training ground, Hyuga-chen took out a short blade and threw it to Azuki Yugao. I'll show you the swordsmanship first. Hyuga-chen put away the smile on his face and showed Azuki Yugao the basic sword skills. Although it was just a basic swordsmanship, in Hyuga-chen's hands, every move was as smooth as running water, which was pleasing to the eye. It looks handsome, doesn't it? Hyuga-chen asked Azuki Yugao as he drew his sword and stood. Azuki Yugao nodded frantically, feeling that the teacher's swordsmanship was too elegant, which made her yearn in her heart and wanted to swing her sword. Actually, it was all pretentious just now. It looks very pleasing to the eye, but it's not easy to use in real combat. Hyuga-chen shook his head and said. Ah, how could it be? Azuki Yugao was surprised. The real swordsmanship is for killing people, not so-called good-looking. No matter how beautiful the moves are, it is better to cut off the enemy's head with one knife. Hyuga-chen explained his understanding of swordsmanship. Unlike others, some people practice swordsmanship because they love swordsmanship, or learn swordsmanship to pretend to be coercive, but Hyuga-chen's purpose of learning swordsmanship is just to kill people. That's why this is my swordsmanship. Hyuga-chen slashed a swift and domineering sword towards the distance, and Azuki Yugao couldn't see Hyuga-chen swing the sword at all. Hyuga-chen slowly retracted the knife, the ground began to slowly crack, and a deep crack stretched into the forest in the distance. Azuki Yugao couldn't see the end of the crack at all. It's amazing. Azuki Yugao's mouth widened. The obstacles such as rocks and trees were all cut in half, and Azuki Yugao couldn't imagine what would happen if the knife hit a person. As long as you practice well, you will be so good in the future. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. Now you should practice swinging the knife. Swing the knife 3,000 times, and don't stop until you have finished swinging it. Azuki Yugao nodded without complaining. Holding the short blade that Hyuga-chen threw to her, she started swinging the knife. Every time she swings the knife seriously, without the slightest perfunctory. Hyuga-chen used Mokuden wood style to create a reclining chair, lying on the reclining chair, holding icy juice in his hand, quietly watching Azuki Yugao practice swordsmanship. Cultivation is very boring, because Azuki Yugao has a perfect sage body, so waving the knife 3,000 times to Azuki Yugao is an easy thing to say, and it is not easy to say it is not easy. As long as the perseverance is enough, it can be done. Yugao, who was sweating with exhaustion on his face, still wielding the knife hard, Hyuga-chen nodded in satisfaction. When a teacher naturally hopes that his students have perseverance and are willing to work hard. Time passed quickly in Azuki Yugao's practice. After Azuki Yugao finally finished swinging the sword 3,000 times, he gasped and almost fell to the ground. Do you regret studying swordsmanship? Hyuga-chen said, handing Azuki Yugao a bottle of water. Who tilde, I don't regret it. Azuki Yugao, who was gasping for breath, shook his head, his expression extremely firm. Just don't regret it, your perseverance is stronger than most people. Among Hokage, there are obviously not as many ninjas who specialize in taijutsu and swordsmanship. It is because the practice of taijutsu and swordsmanship is too painful, and many people simply cannot insist on this boring practice. Let Azuki Yugao rest for a while, and then continue to let her practice, until the evening. Hyuga-chen let Azuki Yugao stop. Even the persevering Azuki Yugao breathed a sigh of relief when Hyuga-chen told her to stop training. Chapter 210 System Mall Discounts for a limited time. Send Azuki Yugao back, and Hyuga-chen will return to the store. Shadow Clone was released. Hyuga-chen entered the system space, and the originally boring Shui Heime's eyes lit up immediately after seeing Hyuga-chen. You finally came in. I'm dying of boredom. Isn't Conan also in the system space? Conan Tenten worked hard to develop frozen fruits, and they ignored me at all. Shui Heim said depressedly. Conan girl, I'll go take a look. Hyuga-chen shook his head and said. Coming to a world frozen in ice, Hyuga-chen saw Conan, who was constantly using the ability of frozen fruit not far away. Conan! Hyuga-chen shouted loudly. Conan, who had 2 ice spears condensed in his hand, stopped immediately, and then took a few steps to Hyuga-chen, a look of exhaustion on his fair and soft face. "Brother, you're here." Seeing Hyuga-chen, Conan's expression was a little surprised, and most of the tiredness on his face disappeared. Gently pinched Conan's little Chong's nose, and then said, "Why do you have to practice so hard? Anyway, time has no meaning to us, we can cultivate slowly." "Don't I want to get stronger?" 870. Conan hugged Hyuga-chen's arm and said coquettishly. Only in front of Hyuga-chen, Conan will act like a spoiled child. There's no need for Ten to make themselves so hard. Cultivation also requires a combination of work and rest. Hyuga-chen said. "Yeah, listen to your brother." Conan nodded while hugging Hyuga-chen's arm. "Pull Conan away from here and return to the floating island floating in the sky." Just after returning to the floating island, a scent came. Conan smelled the fragrance, secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva, practiced all day, and now Conan is very hungry. "The food made by Snowheim is really delicious," Hyuga-chen praised. "Really?" The corner of Shuiheim's mouth curled into a smile that made Hyuga-chen uneasy, and then asked, "Me and Makoto and Conan, who cooks the best food?" Feeling Conan's gaze fixed on him, Hyuga-chen gave Shuiheim a stern look, but fortunately Makoto wasn't here. "Of course Makoto and Conan make delicious food, and the food you make is at best edible." Conan listened, a sweet smile on the corner of his mouth. "Humph. If that's the case, then don't eat it." Shuiheim snorted coldly and said angrily. "Why don't I eat it? I want to eat it, a little bit tilde." You're mad at me, and I will never cook for you again." Shuiheim stood up and pinched his waist. "Don't. Just kidding with you, Shuiheim's food, isn't it obvious to all?" In the face of Shuiheim's threat, Hyuga-chen hurriedly surrendered. "Then the food I made was delicious?" Shuiheim asked Hyuga-chen proudly. "Of course it's delicious. The food made by Snowheim, Makoto, and Conan is the best thing I've ever eaten," Hyuga-chen said quickly. What Hyuga-chen said was indeed the truth. The food the three of them made was indeed the best Hyuga-chen had ever eaten, and the worst thing she had ever eaten was, of course, the food made by Tsunade and Kushina. The food made by Tsunade and Kushina can be used as poison. It is no exaggeration to say that even if the poison does not kill people, it is no problem to send people to the hospital. Tsunade and Kushina are also talented people who can cook such dark dishes. "Humph," Shuiheim snorted, and a smile finally appeared on her face. After eating, Conan and Hyuga-chen chatted for a while, and then went to rest reluctantly under Hyuga-chen's persuasion. After Conan left, Hyuga-chen looked at Shuiheim and asked, "Shuiheim, can you leave the system space?" "I don't know, I can't leave the system space anyway, but I don't think it's okay not to leave the system space," Shuiheim said softly. "By the way, there have been some changes in the system mall, adding some discounted products for a limited time," Shuiheim said to Hyuga-chen. "Change. Discount for a limited time." Hyuga-chen immediately opened the system mall panel. Products with limited time discounts appear once every 10 years, and each product only exists for 1 year. If you don't buy it for a year, the system will be taken off the shelves. You can only wait for the next time, Shuiheim reminded. Hyuga-chen nodded, indicating that he understood, and then looked at the 6 items that were discounted for a limited time. 12 spells, horse spells, 100,000 exchange points. Open black lens bracket, 12 charms, rabbit charm, close black lens bracket, 500,000 redemption points. Fire dragon slayer magic, 150,000 redemption points. Open black lens bracket, limbo border jail, close black lens bracket, 100,000 exchange points. Saiyan bloodline, 1 million exchange points. Open black lens bracket, fruit of Gen perfect, close black lens bracket, 100,000 exchange points. "How much is this discount?" Hyuga-chen asked. "It's all discounted, isn't it?" "What's so cheap? Saiyan blood and rabbit charms can't be bought at all." He complained that it was not cheap, but Hyuga-chen still bought the horse charm, limbo border jail, and Junjun fruit. After buying these three things, Hyuga-chen's remaining 300,000 exchange points were all used up, and now Hyuga-chen has no exchange points at all. My Rinnegan Eye Devourer, can I directly devour the devil fruit, so I can get the devil fruit power without taking it? Hyuga-chen asked. Yes, Shui-heim said affirmatively. Oh, Hyuga-chen nodded, but he didn't devour the shaking fruit. This fruit was prepared by Hyuga-chen for Tsunade, and he did not intend to use it himself, even though the shaking fruit was very powerful. Accepting the ability of Limbo Border Jail, Hyuga-chen has another pupil technique, which is still Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan pupil technique. Holding the horse charm, Hyuga-chen used the magic power that Devour God devoured, and the power of the horse charm became Hyuga-chen's own ability. The horse charm's ability is to heal and restore objects. It can eliminate any negative effects caused by external forces, and it can also reduce pain and injury, and restore damaged objects. It looks like a chicken rib, but it actually has a lot of effects, especially the ability to avoid injury and reduce pain. Yes, this time the harvest is very big, Hyuga-chen said with a smile. Shui-heim glanced at Hyuga-chen's smug look, pouted and left. The next day, Hyuga-chen finished breakfast and left the system space. As soon as I opened the door of the ninja shop, I saw an acquaintance walking towards me. Chen-kun, long time no see. Orochimaru greeted Hyuga-chen with a smile, but the smile was a bit ugly. It's better not to smile. Yo, isn't this Uncle Snake? Long time no see. How come you, a busy person, have time to come to my shop? I heard that Chen-kun is back, so of course I want to come and see. Hyuga-chen smiled. In his heart, he didn't believe that Orochimaru just came to see him. The two of them were not too familiar except for a deal. I don't know what happened to Tsunade, Orochimaru asked. Although he is cold-blooded, it doesn't mean that he has no feelings at all. He is still more concerned about Tsunade and Jiraiya, two teammates. The big fat sheep of the ninja world, you should have heard of it. Orochimaru smiled and chatted with Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen knew that Orochimaru should have something to do with him, but Hyuga-chen didn't say anything, but waited for Orochimaru to speak. However, Orochimaru has not been talking about the main topic, but talking about other things with Hyuga Tatsu. Chapter 211 Orochimaru's Inquiry. Hyuga Tatsu and Orochimaru were sitting in the ninja shop, chatting about innocuous topics. The end, Orochimaru pondered and asked Hyuga-chen, Chen-kun, I would like to take the liberty to ask, are your eyes the evolution of Byakugan? Although Orochimaru had already guessed it, he still wanted to confirm it. Uncle Snake, you should also know that it's not good to inquire about other people's secrets casually, but since Uncle Snake has spoken, I might as well tell you that my eyes are indeed the evolution of Byakugan. Orochimaru breathed a sigh of relief to himself. This kind of question about blood is not something that can be asked casually in the ninja world. Hyuga-chen didn't turn his face, which really made Orochimaru relieved, a sigh of relief. I didn't expect Byakugan to evolve, this is the first time I've heard of it. Orochimaru made his own signature move again. Hyuga-chen looked at Orochimaru's actions, and had the urge to hit someone, and wanted to cut off his tongue. It was so fucking disgusting. Sharingan can evolve, so why can't Byakugan evolve, but the conditions for evolution are very harsh. Orochimaru glanced at Hyuga Tatsu, and didn't ask Byakugan's evolution method. He knew what to ask and what not to ask. Is Byakugan's evolution the same level as Mangekyo? Orochimaru asked tentatively. Then he added, if it's not convenient for Chen-kun to say it, then forget it. There's nothing that can't be said. The evolution of Byakugan is Tenseigan, and it has the same level of eyes as Rinnegan, the first of the three major pupils. Hyuga-chen said lightly. However, Hyuga-chen's faint words, when he heard Orochimaru's ears, was no different from a thunderclap on the ground. As Rinnegan, an eye that only exists in legend, Orochimaru's heart was shocked, and the greed in his eyes was fleeting. I didn't expect Chen-kun to have eyes of the same level as Rinnegan. I'm really envious. Orochimaru said with envy in his eyes. I wonder if Chen-kun understands the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru stared at Hyuga-chen with a pair of vertical pupils. In fact, if it wasn't for the last time Hyuga-chen left Konoha, Orochimaru wouldn't know about the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. In everyone's eyes, Mangekyo Sharingan is already the evolutionary limit of Sharingan, but there is a stronger eternal Mangekyo on it. Seeing the power of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Orochimaru couldn't help but coveted the power to change the terrain. Although Orochimaru peeps more at Hyuga-chen's power, he still has the self-knowledge that he is not Hyuga-chen's opponent at all. So he came up with the idea of eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which is also the main purpose of his coming to Hyuga-chen. Uncle Snake, you seem very sure that I understand eternal Mangekyo. Although Orochimaru seemed to have asked Hyuga Tatsu if he didn't understand, his tone was affirmative. Orochimaru smiled. Hyuga-chen's little girlfriend Uchiha Makoto has the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru is sure that this is definitely what Hyuga-chen helped her to open. And Uchiha Chingchung's pair of eternal Mangekyo also fell into the hands of Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen is the only person Orochimaru has learned, the only one who knows the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and the other one is his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen. But Orochimaru definitely wouldn't ask his teacher, and even if he did, Sarutobi Hiruzen wouldn't tell him. Eternal Mangekyo's opening method is very harsh. Hyuga-chen shook his head. Orochimaru is excited. Hyuga-chen really knows how to open the eternal Mangekyo. How to open? As long as Chen-kun tells me, I can take out all my ninjutsu and exchange it with you. Orochimaru said quickly. No, I can tell you for free. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. At this time, Orochimaru hesitated. There is no free lunch in the world. Orochimaru didn't believe that a pie would fall from the sky, and it just hit him on the head. Afterwards, Orochimaru felt as if he had nothing to calculate, so he put his heart down for a while, and made a gesture of listening intently. If you want to open the eternal Mangekyo, you must have both brothers to open the Mangekyo Sharingan, and then transplant the brothers' eyes, so that you can get the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. When Orochimaru heard this, his brows furrowed. Orochimaru knew exactly how low the probability of opening the Mangekyo Sharingan of the Uchiha family was. Two brothers also turned on Mangekyo Sharingan. The probability of this is even lower and cannot be lower, and it is almost impossible to achieve. Thinking about it this way, Orochimaru thinks it's better to play Mangekyo Sharingan's idea. After all, Mangekyo Sharingan may still get it. Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Chingchung are the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan opened in this way. Hyuga-chen said softly. Orochimaru's eyes suddenly lit up. He thought of Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto has no siblings, so how did she open the eternal Mangekyo? Chen-kun, I wonder if there is any other way to open the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru asked urgently. Yes. One word of Hyuga-chen, bringing hope to Orochimaru. As long as there is enough six paths yin power, even 3 Tomo Sharingan can instantly become an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru's heart was hot, and when he was about to ask Hyuga-chen what the yin power of 6 paths was, Hyuga-chen poured him a basin of cold water. This method is more difficult to accomplish than the previous one. The 6 paths yin power is not within your reach. If you can obtain the 6 paths yin power, you don't need the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Dare to ask Chen-kun, what exactly is the 6 paths yin power? Orochimaru asked humbly. It has something to do with 6 paths. Hyuga-chen just said that, and then he didn't mean to say more. 6 paths. 6 paths fairies, Orochimaru muttered. Then Orochimaru shook his head, ready to put down the eternal Mangekyo for a while and try to get Mangekyo Sharingan. Hyuga-chen also saw Orochimaru's thoughts and poured him a basin of cold water again. Friendly to tell you, the Uchiha family is a cursed family. Mangekyo Sharingan is not a good thing. It is a life-sucking demon. If you use Mangekyo Sharingan too much, you will eventually go blind. What? Orochimaru was surprised again. Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil strength will not be replenished. When it runs out, it will cause blindness. When using Susanoo, it will suffer unbearable pain and will be swallowed by Susanoo. There is no eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Susanoo is a powerful technique that kills 1,000 enemies and damages 800. Hyuga Chen explained. At this time, Orochimaru was silent. He didn't expect the seemingly powerful Mangekyo Sharingan to have such a big flaw. Orochimaru is a person who pursues immortality. Naturally, he doesn't want a Mangekyo Sharingan that eats life. No matter how strong Orochimaru is, Mangekyo Sharingan can't reach the level of a strong pervert like Hyuga-chan. Chapter 212 The final evolution of Sharingan is Rinnegan. Hyuga-chan picked up the tea next to him and took a sip from the cow. Then he threw aside the tea that he used to improve his compulsion. A glass of juice appeared in his hand, and he drank it happily. Although drinking tea seems to improve the quality, but Hyuga-chan has poor taste. He is not used to the bitter taste of tea. Uncle Snake, drink tea. This is the best tea produced in the tea country. If you don't drink it, it will be wasted. Hyuga-chan said to the contemplative Orochimaru. Orochimaru's thoughts were pulled back by Hyuga-chan's words. Looking at the tea on the table, Orochimaru took a sip and frowned. Chen-kun, your tea-making skills are not very good. You put too much tea leaves, and you wasted a pot of good tea in vain. No wonder, it turned out to be too much tea. I said why the tea that Makoto brewed is fragrant, and I brewed it like this. Hyuga-chen said, sucking the juice. The corners of Orochimaru's mouth twitched, and then he put down the teacup. He didn't know how much tea Hyuga-chan had put, and it was too bitter to drink. Chen-kun, is there no other way to open the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Powerful power is not so easy to get. If you really want a way, there is. Oh, how? Orochimaru asked hastily. Dream and demonic illusion, choose one for yourself. Don't say it's the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan or Rinnegan. You can punch the Six Paths Fairy or become the only god. Hyuga-chan said with a smile. The corners of Orochimaru's mouth twitched, making him happy for nothing. If the other party wasn't Hyuga-chan, Orochimaru would definitely tear him to pieces and feed it to the snake. Uncle Snake, do you know who is the first person in history to own Sharingan? Hyuga-chan asked indifferently. Orochimaru frowned. How could he possibly know who was the first to have Sharingan? Probably the ancestor of the Uchiha family. No, the first person to have Sharingan was Otsutsuki Hagoromo. You must be unfamiliar with Otsutsuki Hagoromo. He has another title, and that is Six Paths Immortal. Hyuga-chan's words made Orochimaru stunned again. It is estimated that he has never been stunned as many times in his life as he is today. Isn't the legendary Six Paths Immortal Rinnegan who created the world, destroyed the world, and controlled life and death? How did he become a Sharingan? Orochimaru asked. He felt as if he was about to come into contact with a big secret. Byakugan's ultimate evolution is a Tenseigan of the same level as Rinnegan, and Sharingan's ultimate evolution is reincarnation. Reincarnation. Orochimaru was silent. He was stunned by what Hyuga-chan said, unable to utter a single word. The ultimate evolution of the Sharingan is the Rinnegan, kept echoing in my mind. Tatsu-kun isn't joking, right? Orochimaru said after a long while, staring at Hyuga Tatsu carefully. Do I need to deceive you? Hyuga-chan asked rhetorically. Chen-kun really doesn't need to lie to me. When I suddenly heard this news, I was a little shocked and disrespectful. Orochimaru calmed down the stormy waves in his heart. Orochimaru thought for a while. Hyuga-chen seemed to have no need to deceive him. That is, Sharingan could really evolve into Rinnegan, and Orochimaru's heart suddenly became excited. This news is really exciting. The legendary Eye of God, the eye that controls the disillusionment of life and death, doesn't Orochimaru want to get it? After a long time in his heart, Orochimaru suddenly came back to his senses. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is so difficult to get, so what about the stronger Rinnegan? Probably harder. Chen-kun, what about Rinnegan's evolutionary method? Orochimaru asked in a low voice. Hyuga-chan chuckled, and then said, the Senju family and the Uchiha family are one ancestor. The power of the Senju family, plus the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, has the opportunity to open the Rinnegan. Hyuga-chen told Orochimaru everything without hesitation, because even if Orochimaru was told, Orochimaru would not be able to open Rinnegan. Because the conditions for opening Rinnegan are too harsh, Uchiha Madara can open Rinnegan because he is the reincarnation of Otsutsuki Indra's chakra. Although Orochimaru's technology research is very powerful, it is impossible to create a Rinnegan. Even the ninja world that has completely stepped into the road of science and technology in the future Barenzwan period will not be able to create a Rinnegan. Uchiha and Senju are one yin and one yang, and the power of yin and yang merges, and there is a chance to give birth to Rinnegan. Thank you Chen-kun for the notification. Orochimaru bowed to Hyuga-chen and thanked him. It's nothing, but if you want to use the full power of Rinnegan perfectly, you can only be the one who turned on Rinnegan. For others, Rinnegan is also a huge burden. Hyuga-chen said softly. If Chen-kun hadn't told me, maybe I would never have known this. If Chen-kun needs anything in the future, feel free to come to me. As long as it is within my power, it is my duty. Orochimaru promised. I won't disturb Chen-kun now, I'll take my leave. Orochimaru stood up and walked outside. As he was about to step out the door, Orochimaru paused. Chen-kun, do you think people can live forever? Anyone who has the ability can naturally live forever. No matter how much effort an incompetent person tries, it will be nothing in the end. Hyuga-chen said lightly. So Chen-kun thinks, are you a capable person? Orochimaru asked slightly tentatively with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Time can kill a lot of things, but it can't kill me. Hyuga-chen's plain, but confident and domineering words entered Orochimaru's ears. Orochimaru's pupils shrank, and he left without saying anything. From Hyuga Tatsu's words, he already got what he wanted to know. After Orochimaru left, Hyuga-chen stood up, stretched, and lay down on the sofa beside him. He told Orochimaru these secrets without any purpose. Whether Orochimaru can get Rinnegan and change the direction of the future has nothing to do with Hyuga-chen. Because Hyuga-chen has the strength to disdain any variable, he can now sit back and watch the rise of the ninja world. Moreover, according to Hyuga-chen's estimation, Orochimaru can't change the future, and even because of Hyuga-chen's words, the future may be closer to the original. Because if Orochimaru really wants to get the eternal Mangekyo and Rinnegan, he can only play the idea of two Jinchuriki column suns. In this way, everything is back to square one. However, this has little to do with Hyuga-chen. To use a pretentious word, everything is under Hyuga-chen's control. The entire Hokage world, it is impossible for anyone to be stronger than Hyuga-chen who surpassed 6 paths, so no matter how they dance, they cannot escape from his palm. Now Hyuga-chen can quietly watch the clown pretending to be in the dark, and after he finishes pretending, he will come out and shoot the other party to death, so as to highlight his coercive style. Chapter 213 Thousands of people's fingers, thousands of people's saliva, Hataki Sakumo. Leaving Hyuga-chan's ninja shop, Orochimaru stood on the street, his eyes twinkling with ambition and greed. Sharingan, Rinnegan, _. Passers-by on the street saw Orochimaru who was suddenly smiling, with a horrified expression on his face, and they all ducked away. No way, who made Orochimaru's gloomy aura, at first glance, not a good person. Coupled with this evil smile, it's good not to be scared to cry. Orochimaru glanced at the people around him lightly, then walked away quickly. A blink of an eye, more than a month has passed, and Hyuga-chen is either going to teach Izuki Yugao every day, or lying on his stomach as a salted fish in a ninja shop. However, a major event has happened in the past few days. The Hitaki Sakumo mission came back a few days ago, and it still failed. The failure of this mission is also a big loss to Konoha. It wasn't a big deal at first, but Danzo, who was hiding in the dark, had a twinkle in his eyes. Danzo wanted to become Hokage. He wanted so much, he almost went crazy, but he knew that even if Sarutobi Hiruzen abdicated, this Hokage position would not be his turn. Who is the most influential person in Konoha village now? Not 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, but Hitaki Sakumo. 12 Sarutobi Hiruzen suffered heavy casualties due to the Second Ninja World War. Although Konoha won in the end, his reputation still dropped a lot. Hitaki Sakumo, who is powerful and is the minister of Anbu, has great power, and his prestige has increased greatly, and there are even rumors that Hitaki Sakumo is the 4th generation of Hokage. Danzo, who is peeping at the position of Hokage at this time, tolerates such hidden dangers. Reason why he didn't shoot Hitaki Sakumo is because he didn't catch Hitaki Sakumo's handle. Now that he knew about the failure of Hitaki Sakumo's mission, he finally couldn't hold it in any longer and wanted to attack Hitaki Sakumo. Let's go and spread the rumors. Just say that because of the failure of this mission, Konoha has suffered a lot, and you can say as much as you can. Danzo commanded in a low voice. By the way, find a way to turn against his teammates and blame him together. Hitaki Sakumo, this time I'm going to ruin your reputation and see how you can get your hands on the Hokage position. The Hokage position can only be mine. Danzo roared frantically. After a moment, Danzo returned to normal, closed his eyes and thought. No one knew what he was thinking. Because of Danzo's push, Hitaki Sakumo gave up the mission to save his companions, and the failure of the mission spread throughout the streets of Konoha in less than half a day. The spread is so wide, the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally know, and he also knows who did it, but Sarutobi Hiruzen did not stop it. Not only did he not stop him, but Sarutobi Hiruzen also stopped Hitaki Sakumo from his job and told him to go back to rest on the grounds that he was too tired. Sarutobi Hiruzen did this because Hitaki Sakumo was too famous and had already overwhelmed him, and wanted to take the opportunity to reduce Hitaki Sakumo's prestige. Hitaki Sakumo went back with a look of disappointment. Regarding the pointing on the road, Hitaki Sakumo just clenched his fists and silently sped away. In his heart, he not only asked himself, was it really what he did wrong? At this moment, Hitaki Sakumo was confused, and he didn't even know how to get home. Father. Hitaki Kakashi looked at his father worriedly. Hitaki Sakumo didn't seem to hear Kakashi calling him, and returned to the room like a corpse, shutting himself in the room. Worrying about his father, Hitaki Kakashi kept knocking on the door, but Hitaki Sakumo still didn't open the door for him. Kakashi, I want to be quiet. Hitaki Sakumo's slightly hoarse voice came from the room. Hitaki Kakashi hesitated and left for the time being. Hitaki Sakumo locked himself in his room for several days, and finally he figured it out. He felt that he was right, ninjas who didn't value their companions were worse than trash. Walking out of the room, Hitaki Sakumo smiled at Kakashi, which also relieved Hitaki Kakashi who had been worried. Kakashi, why didn't you go to school? Hitaki Kakashi was silent. He didn't go to school for 2 reasons. One was because he was worried about Hitaki Sakumo, and the other was the pointing of outsiders. Just when Hitaki Sakumo was about to say something, there was a loud noise outside, which made Hitaki Sakumo frown, and then wanted to go out to see what was going on. Father, don't go out. Hitaki Kakashi shouted hastily. Hitaki Sakumo has been in the room these days, wondering. Kakashi still doesn't know what's going on outside. A lot of people were blocking their door. Tenten came to abuse. Having reached the gate, Hitaki Sakumo frowned when he heard the foul language outside, and then slammed open the gate. As Anbu's minister, Hitaki Sakumo is naturally not stupid. This must be someone targeting him. Yohei tilde, you still have a face to come out. You don't hide at home and become a tortoise, you rubbish. A sharp-mouthed monkey, who looked like a second-rate at first glance, saw Hatake Tsukumo come out, with a look of surprise in his eyes, and immediately sneered. How can this person not die for actually causing us Konoha to suffer so much damage? Look at his face without the slightest guilt, how can he be so thick-skinned? Hatake's house was besieged by people, and the people in front of him were accusing Hatake Tsukumo. Most of these people were Navy soldiers, invited by the route. There are also many people who consider themselves righteous people, who have accused Hatake Tsukumo. Of course, most of them are watching the fun. After all, in any world, there is no shortage of people watching the fun, because people's curiosity is too heavy. I just hate these people who have nothing to do to watch the fun. 640 you guys are so full, you come to watch the fun, and I can't squeeze in, so I can only watch from the roof. Hyuga-chen said to the people watching the fun below. People express contempt. Next to Naoki, the trio of Ino Shikacho twitched at the corners of their mouths. Big brother, aren't we here to watch the fun too? Are you entitled to hate others? At this time, Hatake Kakashi hurried out, listening to everyone's accusations against his father. His face became colder and colder, and there was even a hint of killing intent. What are you staring at? Your father did something wrong, why don't you tell me? Do you still want to hit me? Look at his son's murderous look. He teaches what kind of son he has. Because of the deliberately fanning the flames, those onlookers who came to watch the excitement also joined in one after another and attacked Hatake Tsukumo. You people are courting death. Hatake Kakashi angrily pulled out the dagger behind him. Seeing Hatake Kakashi drawing his sword, the crowd hurriedly backed away. They were just here to watch the fun. It wouldn't be worth dying here. Hatake Tsukumo stretched out his hand to hold Kakashi, and scolded in a low voice. Kakashi, I taught you that the knife in your hand can never be drawn against your own people, don't you forget it. But are these people their own? Hatake Kakashi clenched his fist and bit Kiba. As long as they belong to the village, they are their own. Hatake Tsukumo said in a low voice. Chapter 214 Face Ashes. These people must be instructed, otherwise there will never be such a big trouble. Nara Shikaku whispered. It's none of our business, just watch the show, but Hatake Tsukumo is really a jerk. He was bullied at his door, and he didn't even cut them with a knife. Hyuga-chan said contemptuously. Nara Shikaku gave a wry smile and said, don't think about violence every time to solve the problem. Now Hatake-senpai is very passive, and some people are eager for him to do it. Violence is the easiest and most direct method. If someone dares to block my door, I will slash them to death. Hyuga-chan said. Nara Shikaku shook his head. He is a wise man, why should he argue with Hyuga-chan, a reckless and iron-headed baby? Teacher Tilda. Hyuga-chan turned his head and looked behind, only to see Azuki Yugao, a little girl, waving to him, with Anko, Kurenai Yuhi, Nohara Rin and others beside her. As for Sarutobi Asuma, Uchiha Obito and the others, they were selectively ignored by Hyuga-chan. You guys also came to see how Kakashi's father was scolded. Hyuga-chan's words made everyone stunned. The three Ino Shikacho and Naoki were all covered in black lines. It's so unpleasant to say what comes out of your mouth, Yamanaka Inoichi said. It's all here to watch the fun, and pretending to be arrogant. I just came to see the famous Konoha White Fang being scolded. Hyuga-chen said with a pouting lip. Everyone looked at Hyuga-chen speechlessly. Is it really good to say it so honestly? We're not here to see the fun, we're here to see Kakashi, Uchiha Obito said. Well, I'm here to watch the fun. Anko raised his hand and said bluntly. She and Hatake Kakashi have a bad relationship, so she came here to watch the fun. Not only Anko, but basically Uchiha Obito and Nohara Rin, who have a good relationship with Kakashi. Everyone else is here to watch the fun. Kakashi is actually not welcome in the class, which has something to do with Kakashi's character. Who would like someone who is cold and arrogant? Yugao, you see it. Don't imitate him in the future, it's too useless. If anyone dares to provoke you, you can tell the teacher, and I'll help you avenge. Hyuga-chen pointed at Hitaki Sakumo and said to Azuki Yugao, obviously taking Hitaki Sakumo as a negative teaching material. This is your disciple. You are not afraid to teach others badly. Cut, it's fine for my disciples to hang and beat you in the future. I'm talking about thinking, Yamanaka Inoichi said sullenly. Stop talking, let's go to the show. The good show is coming. Hyuga-chen pointed to two bandaged ninjas in the distance, one with a lame leg and the other with a broken hand. Nara Shikaku frowned. These two are not. Hitaki Sakumo, why are you saving us? Don't you know that the most important thing for ninjas is to complete the mission? You give up your mission to save us, you don't deserve to be a ninja at all. If we can get the job done, what if we die? We die for Konoha, we are willing, we are honored. Two people came to accuse Hitaki Sakumo and let the onlookers know that these two people were the ones saved by Hitaki Sakumo. Hidden in the crowd, those who were bought by Danzo saw all the protagonists appear, and began to exert their strength. Hitaki Sakumo must pay for Konoha's losses. Hitaki Sakumo saved the two of them, but made them suffer from the stigma of mission failure, and his heart is punishable. After the guidance of people with a heart, the wind of public opinion blew towards Hitaki Sakumo. Compared with today's accusations, the accusations a few days ago are completely appetizers. Hitaki Sakumo was shaken physically and mentally, and the belief that he had recovered from was shaken once again. Even the companions who were rescued by him began to accuse him. Is what he did really right? For a time Hitaki Sakumo turned ashen. I don't think Hitaki Sakumo did anything wrong. Could it be that in order to complete the mission, one can ignore the life and death of his comrades? Yamanaka Inoichi said with a frown. He felt that the two companions of Hitaki Sakumo were really disgusting, and it would be shameless if you were not grateful for saving you. It's not a question of right or wrong. If Hitaki Sakumo chooses to complete the mission and give up his companions, he should be accused of being cold-hearted and ruthless. It is estimated that it is worse than this. Hyuga-chen sat cross-legged on the roof and said. Danzo wants to fuck him, isn't it easy to find a reason? In the midst of the chatter and scolding, someone took out a rotten egg and threw it at Hitaki Sakumo. Under normal circumstances, the eggs would never hit Hitaki Sakumo, but now Hitaki Sakumo has fallen into a sluggish state because of the scolding from everyone. With a pop, the rotten egg smashed into Hitaki Sakumo's face, and a thick stench came out. Damn it, you actually use rotten eggs to attack, is this killing yourself? Hyuga-chen quickly held his breath, not knowing how many years of rotten eggs it was. The smell was outrageous. Following the first rotten egg, the people who were prepared to take out rotten leaves, rotten eggs, and small stones, smashed them at Hitaki Sakumo. As soon as Hitaki Kakashi bit Kiba, he reached out and pulled the knife out, but Hitaki Sakumo held his hand again. This kid wants to kill us, hit him with me, one of the crowd shouted. Then the things in everyone's hands greeted Hitaki Kakashi. Hitaki Sakumo subconsciously stood in front of Kakashi, and everything fell on him. Rotten eggs and rotten leaves flying in the sky, Hitaki Sakumo pulled Hitaki Kakashi back with a face ashes. Fuck, he was able to hold back and not get angry, shouldn't I praise him for his arrogance? Hyuga-chen's expression was very speechless. It can only be said that Senior White Fang is very rational. If Senior White Fang really does something, then Konoha will have no place for him. Nara Shikaku shook his head and said. Renshin was bullied by others, and Mashan was ridden by others. Anyway, I can't stand his cowardly appearance. Hyuga-chen pouted. Obviously you have strength, but you still endure being bullied, so why do you need strength? Just go to farm. Hitaki Sakumo closed the door, and the crowd of onlookers dispersed, but there was still a lot of talk. Lord Kakuzu is over, let's go too. Hyuga-chen stood up and said. Soon everyone dispersed, only Hitaki Sakumo's two teammates were still yelling at the door of Hitaki's house. A few days passed, and every day people went to Hitaki's house to yell at him. When Hyuga-chen was bored, he would also go to see them, and it was very emotional to see those people yelling at him. The protagonist who was scolded had not eaten for several days, and had not even drank a sip of water. He locked himself in a small house every day. Hitaki Kakashi was very worried after seeing it, but he couldn't help it. Kakashi couldn't persuade his father at all, and he could only hope that he could figure it out and recover every day. Chapter 215 The Death of White Fang. Early in the morning, after breakfast, Hyuga-chan took the melon seed snacks and a few jugs of wine, and walked towards Hitaki's house. Of course, Hyuga-chan didn't go to Hitaki Sakumo to chat, but to go to the theater. He came to a relatively remote place in Hitaki's house and found that the trio of Ino Shikacho and Naoki were already waiting here. It's so early today. Hyuga-chan pulled the stool next to him and sat down. Why didn't you three do the task? Hyuga-chan grabbed a handful of melon seeds and asked while eating. With such a big thing happening in Konoha, where do you still have the heart to do the task? You see, there are ninjas over there. Yamanaka Inoichi stretched out his hand and saw that there were many ninjas standing or squatting. Tatsu, Shikaku, how do you think it will end? Yamanaka Inoichi asked. Nara Shikaku pondered for a while, and then said, this kind of thing still depends on the 3 generations of Hokage-sama. Now things are getting more and more serious, and Hokage-sama must come forward to calm down. You'll know after watching it. It's estimated that the results will come out soon. To be honest, I really admire Hitaki Sakumo. I can bear it. Hyuga-chen looked at the yelling army in front of him, shook his head and said. If it were him, a god 913 Luo Tianzhong would have leveled them. But Hitaki Sakumo is not Hyuga-chen, and their ideas are not on the same line. At this time, Hitaki Sakumo was sitting in the yard, and he could clearly hear the scolding outside. Hearing the countless scoldings, Hitaki Sakumo smiled bitterly. Everyone has their own arrogance, and Hitaki Sakumo is no exception. He is proud of himself, and he can't bear the accusations from countless Konoha villagers, and more importantly, he can't bear the accusations from his peers. Public opinion can really crush people sometimes, unless you really don't care. But people who really don't care what other people say don't exist at all. Now Hitaki Sakumo's heart is very tormented, and he doesn't want to betray Konoha, and at this time the thought of escaping arises in his heart. And as soon as this kind of thought arises, it begins to take root and grow. Maybe I'm a coward and can't face everyone's accusations. Maybe death is the best ending for me. I just wronged Kakashi. Hitaki Sakumo showed an ugly smile. Out the pen and paper, Hitaki Sakumo wrote a letter and pressed it on the table. Unable to withstand the pressure of public opinion, Hitaki Sakumo finally chose to commit suicide to escape all this with death. Konoha White Fang, who traversed the ninja world and made the enemy country tremble, chose silent suicide in his own home. Hyuga-chen took the wine glass, took a sip of the wine, and said lightly, Hitaki Sakumo is dead. What? The 4 of Naoki were stunned. Chen, are you kidding me? Hyuga-chen turned over Byakugan and said, do I have to joke with you? Hitaki Sakumo is really dead, just out of breath. How did you die? Nara Shikaku asked calmly. Apart from me in Konoha village, who could kill him silently, Hitaki Sakumo is. You killed Hitaki Sakumo. You two don't seem to have any hatred. Why did you kill him? Naoki looked at Hyuga-chen in surprise. With a crisp pop, Hyuga-chen gave Naoki a slap. It hurts to death. Why are you beating me? Naoki covered his head and looked at Hyuga-chen with a grieved expression. Seeing Naoki's aggrieved look, Hyuga-chen forcibly held back the thought of giving him another slap, and said, you can't listen to me. I want to say that Hitaki Sakumo committed suicide. Suicide? Impossible. Because of this incident, White Fang will commit suicide. Although this incident was a big deal, it didn't seem like a big deal. How could Hitaki Sakumo commit suicide? It didn't happen to you. Of course you don't care. When you are accused by everyone, you will know the pressure. Hyuga-chen said lightly. Hyuga-chen understands the pressure of public opinion, but Hyuga-chen still looks down on Hatake Sakumo. He looked down on Hatake Sakumo not because he couldn't stand the pressure of public opinion, but because he didn't know how to resist. His strength was blinded in vain, and he was too aggrieved to die. The news of Hatake Sakumo's death came out after Kakashi finished school in the afternoon. After hearing the news of Hatake Sakumo's death, Danzo was secretly excited, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was not very good. Sarutobi Hiruzen just wanted to suppress Hatake Sakumo, but didn't think about letting him die. After all, Hatake Sakumo is one of Konoha's strongest combat powers, deterring the power of other villages. At this time Sarutobi Hiruzen regretted, but the regret was irreversible. Everything was too late. Hatake Sakumo was dead. Hatake Sakumo's funeral was very shabby, and there were not many people attending. It is also very sad that a generation of Konoha heroes should end up like this. Because of Hatake Sakumo's death, Hatake Kakashi was hit hard. Originally, Kakashi, who was just a little cold and arrogant, has now turned into an iceberg. Kakashi took the letter left by Hatake Sakumo and tore it to shreds angrily. Irresponsible coward, not worthy of being my father. Hatake Kakashi said coldly. With the flying paper, Hatake Kakashi left Hatake Sakumo's cemetery without looking back. At this time, Hatake Kakashi hated his father very much, and hated why he left him alone to bear the pointing of others. The death of Hatake Sakumo had a huge impact on the entire ninja world, and major countries began to move around. Although there is no action on the surface, but in the dark, there are constant small movements, constantly testing Konoha's bottom line. Facing the behavior of the major ninja villages, this time Sarutobi Hiruzen was very tough and dispatched a large number of Anbu to cut off their claws. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Konoha must be strong at this time. Once Konoha shows weakness, it is likely to trigger the Third Ninja War. Hatake Sakumo is the Kiba of the Beast of Konoha. Now that Hatake Sakumo is dead and the Kiba of Konoha is gone, they must show their sharp claws to smash the ambitions of the wicked. Because of Sarutobi Hiruzen's toughness, the major shinobi villages' hands were temporarily withdrawn, but their greedy eyes were still fixed on Konoha. In short, the death of Hatake Sakumo has also had a big impact on the situation of the ninja world. The 3 generations of Kazekage, the 3rd generation of Reikage, and Onoki are all happy and crazy now. Hyuga-chen left Konoha. Hatake Sakumo was forced to death by Konoha's own people. How much background does Konoha have now? Can they avenge the Second Ninja War? Of course, no one will rashly take action. The Ninja World War is not a joke, and they have not recovered from the loss of the Second Ninja World War. Main reason is that Hyuga-chen killed too many people at the beginning. In the Second Ninja War in the original book, not so many people died. Chapter 216 Attack the Roots. The Dark and Damp Underground. This is the underground base of the Root organization. The security here is very strict, and there are not many people hiding in the dark. At this time, the Root organization sneaked into a person, dressed in a black suit, with an owl mask on his face, and carefully shuttled through the underground base of the Root organization. Damn, where the hell is Danzo? The man in black punched the wall angrily, making a dull sound. Although it is only a slight sound, it is easy to detect in the closed environment of the underground. Who? Someone broke in. Quickly report to Lord Danzo. The members of the Root organization hidden in the dark appeared from the shadows and went to the place where the sound was emitted. No, I was discovered. The man in black was startled, and quickly pulled away from here. However, the ninjas of the Yamanaka clan at the Root have used the secret technique, the technique of mind transmission, to convey the information that someone has broken into the base. So what the man in black is facing is the siege and interception of the entire Root, and it is still the old nest at the Root. After a while, the man in black was surrounded by more than a dozen Root ninjas. Take him down and hand it over to Lord Danzo. A root ninja who looked like a leader gave an order, and a dozen root ninjas rushed to the man in black together. Humph! The man in black snorted coldly, holding the kunai across the necks of the three ninjas in an instant. Be careful, the opponent's strength is very strong, and it is estimated that the lowest elite Jonin. The Jonin leader shouted, looking at the man in black with a vigilant expression. Since you are courting death, then I will fulfill you lackeys. The man in black said in a low voice. Sweden, water style, water dragon bullet art. Hand seal of the man in black, a huge stream of water emerged, and then turned into a water dragon to bite at the enemy. Looking at the huge water dragon, the head of Jonin at the root was horrified, and at the same time, he quickly used the earth flow wall to resist the water dragon. The other root ninjas, before they could react, were already crushed by the powerful water dragon, and then the water dragon bombarded the rising earth wall with indomitable power. Although Doden, earth style, restrains Sweden, water style, but that is only the case of the same strength. The current strength is not equal, the strength of the man in black is obviously stronger, and much stronger. Wall was shattered with a single blow, and the unabated water dragon slammed into Jonin's body. The strong impact brought the Jonin at the root and bombarded the specially made wall, and Jonin died on the spot. The man in black didn't hesitate and left immediately. Although he was confident in his own strength, he didn't want to be surrounded by ninjas at the root, otherwise, it would be difficult to escape with his strength. Kabuto went around and killed dozens of ninjas at the root, and the man in black finally ran out of the underground base at the root. Danzo with his right eye and right arm wrapped in bandages in the distance. The face under the mask was a little ugly. The little mouse that broke into the root tissue finally came out. The old man has been waiting for you for a long time. Danzo said with narrowed eyes. Tell me, who are you and who sent you to the root organization? Say it and I can give you a good time. Doden, earth style, swamp of the underworld. The land with a radius of 100 meters suddenly turned into a swamp. Danzo looked at the swamp under his feet, broke free easily, and then released futon, wind style, vacuum sphere to prevent the man in black from taking the opportunity to escape. Use these little tricks in front of me, you're still a little tender. Danzo said with a sneer. Does the death of the Senju people have anything to do with you? The man in black asked in a low voice. Are you related to the Senju family? You are Senju Nawaki. Danzo was slightly surprised, then affirmed. Know that Nawaki is not dead. Danzo is one of them, because he sent someone to kill Nawaki at the beginning. Naturally, he knows that Nawaki is not dead, but Danzo did not make a sound. Danzo believes that even if Nawaki is still alive, there is no threat to him. Nawaki took off his mask. His eyes were red Yuhi. His eyes full of anger stared at Danzo, bit Kiba and said, It really is you, the death of the Senju clan really has something to do with you. Humph. Attacking the senior leaders of Konoha is unforgivable. Let me take him down. Danzo said with a cold snort. Root Ninja heard Danzo's order, held a ninja sword, and killed Nawaki. Nawaki's expression became solemn. Although he took the medicine Hugichin gave him, he was already a strong cage-level player, but Nawaki didn't dare to be careless. Doden, earth style, earth flow river. A group of ninjas at the root jumped up, avoiding the flowing mudslides under their feet. Nawaki looked at the group of ninjas in the air with a smile on his face, and said lightly with his hand seal, Sweden, water style, great waterfall technique. In the land of no water, a large amount of water is produced, and then a huge wave like a waterfall is formed, and it rushes towards the root ninja whose body is in the air. Because in the air, many people with poor strength could not avoid it and were hit by the huge wave, and the strong impact directly crushed their bones. Danzo's expression is ugly. I didn't expect Nawaki to be so strong. In a land without water, such a powerful Sweden, water style can be used. Without a large amount of chakra, it is absolutely impossible. Doden, earth style, rip the earth. Nawaki slammed the ground, and the ground cracked countless holes, spreading towards Danzo in the distance. Danzo jumped to avoid Nawaki's attack, frowning, feeling Nawaki a little difficult to deal with. Go to hell. At this time, grabbing the gap where Naoki had just used ninjutsu, a rude elite Jonin suddenly appeared behind Naoki and slashed towards Naoki's neck. This elite Jonin's appearance was very good, and Naoki was at a critical moment before he could react, and then avoided the fatal blow. A high-speed spinning chakra ball appeared in Naoki's hands, who was angry and scared. The high-speed spinning Rasengan hit the ninja's chest, and the powerful power of Rasengan directly penetrated his chest. Seeing this guy die, Naoki breathed a sigh of relief, and then became vigilant. He was really careless just now, otherwise he would definitely find the sneak attacking elite Jonin. And that elite Jonin also died very wrongly. Originally, he fought Naoki head-on. He could fight Naoki a few times. Ninja battles are all for a moment, as long as you show your flaws, then you are not far from death. This guy was seized by Naoki, and a Rasengan killed him. Danzo's face was embarrassed. In which village the elite Jonin were placed, they were all at the top. There were not many elite Jonins in the great ninja village, and there were even fewer elite Jonins at the root, each of which was a very valuable human resource. Now that Naoki has easily killed one, Danzo's face is dark, and Naoki's eyes are full of killing intent, and he can't wait to swallow Naoki alive. Chapter 217 Naoki's Roots. Senju Naoki, you murdered the Konoha ninja, the crime is unforgivable, let the old man take you down personally. Danzo said in a deep voice. Take me, you can give it a try. Naoki looked at Danzo coldly. Then he came to the back of Danzo in an instant, his palm was like a knife, and he hit Danzo's head. Danzo turned quickly, using his bandaged right hand to block Naoki's attack, and took a few steps back. His original right arm had been cut off by Hyuga-chen, and the current right arm was made by Orochimaru with the first generation of Hokage cells. The cells of the first Hokage. Danzo can even use Mokuten, wood style, but Danzo doesn't want to use Mokuten, wood style, in Konoha, otherwise Naoki will definitely suffer a loss if he rushes up so rashly. Knife missed, and Naoki was not discouraged. Using his right leg as a fulcrum, he hit Danzo in the forehead with a roundabout kick. Humph! Danzo snorted coldly, blocking Naoki's heavy kick with his arm, and then started to fight back. Fist was as fast as lightning, and it rushed straight to Naoki's face. When it was about to reach Naoki's face, two fingers suddenly stretched out and stabbed Naoki in the eyes, and the move was extremely fierce. Naoki dodged the fierce attack with a cold sweat on his head, took a few steps back quickly, and watched the sinister Danzo vigilantly. Although Naoki has the strength of cage level, his combat experience is absolutely incomparable to the old Danzo. Although this guy Danzo is not a good thing, his strength is indeed very good, especially Danzo who is in his prime. Seeing Naoki retreating, Danzo didn't chase after him. His arms were shaking at this time, and it wasn't so easy to take Naoki's heavy kick just now. After Naoki took the Sage Body Potion and got the perfect Sage Body, his strength increased a lot. Danzo was absolutely incomparable to Naoki in terms of strength. Naoki looked at the group of people surrounding him and frowned. If it was just Danzo alone, Naoki would have the confidence to defeat him, but Danzo is not alone, he has a group of subordinates. The root ninjas next to them are not just watching and playing, there are also a few masters among them. The most important thing is that his release of ninjutsu is not small. Even if it is remote here, it may alarm other people in Konoha. Glancing at Danzo angrily, Naoki was going to retreat first, and then settle accounts with the old dog Danzo. Sensing that Naoki was trying to escape, Danzo gave a cold smile. Ninja 4 Purple Flame Formation. The 4 root ninjas are separated in the 4 directions of the south, east and northwest, and then at the same time hand seal, the wall of flames shuts Naoki in the enchantment. Naoki's face was a little ugly, and he immediately used ninjutsu to continuously bombard the barrier, but he still couldn't break the barrier. You chose to break into the root organization, and that was your biggest mistake, Danzo said with a sneer. Humph! Sweetened water style, water breaking waves. Naoki spewed a rapid ultra-high-pressure fine water jinchuriki column from his mouth, cutting the four purple flame formation apart like a sharp blade, and then quickly escaped from the enchantment. Naoki, who had left the barrier, finally breathed a sigh of relief. What? You can actually use the ninjutsu of the second Hokage. Danzo was a little surprised. Naoki gave Danzo a deep look and was about to leave. He didn't want to have a pointless fight with Danzo, but at this moment, he suddenly felt that his actions were out of control. Good job Yamanaka, Danzo praised. Yamanaka wind, people of the Yamanaka clan. Naoki instantly thought of the secret techniques of the Yamanaka clan, and controlled the enemy's actions with powerful mental power. Phosphorus worms. Yamanaka's partner, Aburame, took the nano-sized poisonous worms on his hands and grabbed them towards Naoki. Naoki's body tensed, feeling a crisis approaching, breaking free from the Yamanaka wind with all his might, then avoiding the palm of Aburame's roots. Doden Earth-style Tulong gun. A sharp rock rose from the ground, blocking the root ninja's footsteps, and then Naoki ran into the distance without looking back. You can't run away, psychic, nightmare taper. Danzo channeled his psychic beast, and a huge suction came from the nightmare's open mouth. Naoki, who was originally jumping in the air, felt the sudden strong suction, and suddenly felt bad. Naoki was a little sad because Naoki was unprepared and his body was in midair and couldn't take advantage of it. Fortunately, Naoki was adaptable, using his whole body strength to suddenly fall and land on the ground. Then the chakra gathered on his feet, sticking to the ground, and competing with the dream taper. Damn, Kaden fire style, great fireball jutsu. Unable to hold on, Naoki immediately released a Kaden fire style. Originally, the grand fireball released by Naoki was not big, but under the futon wind style of nightmare taper, the original fire was not as big as the grand fireball, and it suddenly expanded tenfold. The nightmare taper screamed and returned to the spirit world. Danzo's face was as black as ink, and he cursed inwardly. Naoki was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect this big guy to be so easy to solve. Danzo, what's going on? At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen came with Anbu's ninja in a combat outfit and immediately asked Danzo. Danzo glanced at him. Wasn't it obvious what was going on? Still need to ask him. Senju Naoki attacked Konoha, Sarutobi, figure it out. Danzo said flatly. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen suspected that his ears had misheard. Senju Naoki attacked Konoha. Isn't Senju Naoki dead? 3 generations of Hokage, it's been a long time. Naoki said flatly. Are you Naoki? Looking at Naoki's face, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned. He recognized at a glance that Naoki was the one who came to Konoha with Hyuga-chen, but is he Naoki? That's right, I want to know about the Senju family back then. Can the third Hokage tell me in detail? Naoki asked in a low voice. He came to Konoha with Hyuga-chen this time, except to meet his old friends, the rest was to settle with the past. Even after 4 or 5 years had passed, Naoki could not forget the desperate faces of the Senju people who had died before his eyes, and the short blade that stabbed him in the chest. Came to Konoha, he has been stabilizing the skyrocketing strength, and now that he has completely controlled the skyrocketing strength, Naoki can't hold back anymore. So last night, on impulse, Naoki entered the root organization he found only a few days ago, and sneaked in to find Danzo to settle accounts. As a result, he got lost in the underground base like a labyrinth. Naoki, who was angry, wanted to vent, but was found by the root, and the current thing happened. Naoki, it's all over, I'm glad you're alive, Enough, do you still think I'm the kid I used to be? Naoki said with anger on his face. Although Naoki did not deliberately ask Hyuga-chen, but from Hyuga-chen's original words, Naoki also understood that the destruction of their Senju family was also related to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Don't talk nonsense with him. Nearly 100 of my ninjas died in his hands. Take him down first. Danzo shouted, and then killed Naoki. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and looked sad. He didn't know whether to stop Danzo or capture Naoki. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't speak, and the Anbu he brought naturally wouldn't act either. So it is still the Naoki dual root organization. Chapter 218 Control Naoki to fight Danzo. Hyuga Chen sat on a big tree not far away, watching the fight below, holding a quick melon in his hand. The real melon eater was him. Tisk tisk, this guy Naoki can't do it. After taking the sage body potion, he still can't take down the old guy Danzo. Hyuga Chen shook his head and said. Sitting in the ninja shop, Hyuga Chen heard the movement, so Hyuga Chen, who is very lively, naturally wanted to come and see. After arriving, what I saw was a fight between Naoki and the root organization. So Hyuga Chen immediately prepared a snack and jumped up to the tree to watch. If Naoki knew that Hyuga Chen was watching a play here, he would have to vomit blood in depression. Hyuga Chen shook his head. Naoki's combat experience is indeed not very good, and he will not take advantage of his own advantages. Forget it, let me help you. Hyuga Chen threw away the melon rind in his hand and clapped his hands. Hyuga Chen's Tensagen fluctuated slightly, and then Naoki felt that his body was out of control. Even though his mind is still his body is not under his control. It was the same as when Yamanaka Wind used ninjutsu and mind-disturbing technique before, but this time he couldn't break free. Now Naoki panicked. Could it be 12 to be so cold? Seeing the kunai stabbed by Danzo, Naoki felt a little despair in his heart. However, when Danzo stabbed, Naoki's body moved, and his right leg kicked towards him faster than Danzo. Danzo couldn't react at all, was kicked in the chest, and Danzo flew out like a cannonball. Hit the ground in the distance, spit out a mouthful of old blood. Naoki, who was just on par with him, suddenly increased his speed and strength several times. What's going on? For a moment Danzo left the pain behind. The other members of the root organization were also shocked, and then killed Naoki with a blank face. A wicked smile suddenly appeared on Naoki's face, then hand seal with both hands, and said coldly, multiple shadow clone techniques. An instant, countless Nawakas filled the sky. To be honest, the people present could not count how many Nawakas there were, and the initial estimate was more than 1,000. So many shadow clones shocked the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. How many chakras does it take to separate so many shadow clones? Countless shadow clones are killing the ninjas of the root organization together. Although each shadow clone is not strong and almost disappears when touched, there are too many. Dozens of shadow clone attacked one person together, and many ninjas from the root organization were killed by shadow clone before they could react. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face sank. Although these are Danzo's people, but they are also Konoha's people, he can't let Naoki kill like this. In fact, Naoki was completely dumbfounded. Now it's not that he is manipulating his body at all. He doesn't even know he can be so awesome. What the hell is going on? Naoki's mind was dazed, and suddenly Naoki had a flash of inspiration, and he thought of a person, that is Hyuga Chen. Among Konoha, he doesn't have many friends. The Ino-Shika-Cho trio and Ueno-sensei definitely don't have the strength to help him, only Hyuga Chen can help him. That Hyuga Chen was manipulating his body, Naoki also let go of the heart that he had been mentioning. Hyuga Chen would not hurt him anyway. However, this uncontrolled situation still made Naoki uncomfortable, and he definitely didn't want to experience it if he could. Naoki, stop me quickly. Sarutobi Hiruzen channeled the ape demon, and then turned the ape demon into a King Kong Rui stick. The elongated King Kong Rui rod swept across, and a large area of shadow clone disappeared into smoke. While so many shadow clones look scary, they're actually pretty fragile. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen made a move, Anbu brought by Sarutobi Hiruzen also attacked those shadow clones, and soon many shadow clones were easily cleaned up. Naoki, stop now, Sarutobi Hiruzen shouted. Sarutobi, you can't let him go. Danzo got up, clutching his chest. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Danzo, then did not speak. Hyuga-chan is still in Konoha now. What can he do with Naoki? A bad one might provoke Hyuga-chan. This is also where Sarutobi Hiruzen is embarrassed. Danzo glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily. The two of them knew each other very well. From Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression, Danzo knew that he would not do anything to Naoki. Sarutobi Hiruzen may have his own considerations, but the loss is his. Danzo, not to mention the kick he was kicked, but to say that he organized the people who died, Danzo can't just forget about it. The unwilling Danzo shot directly, but Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't stop him. He could only tremble with anger. He didn't expect Danzo to be so impulsive and didn't think about the overall situation at all. Looking at Danzo rushing up, Hyuga-chan, who was eating melons on a tree not far away, smiled, then manipulated Naoki's body and kicked Danzo into the air with one kick. Danzo's body like raindrops, and even Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't stand it anymore. And the people in the root organization watched their leader be beaten, and there was nothing they could do. Who made them too weak? They couldn't help at all. Sarutobi Hiruzen hurriedly shot. If Naoki continued to fight, Danzo was very likely to be beaten to death. Sarutobi Hiruzen jumped up, blocked Naoki's attack, and saved Danzo, but Sarutobi Hiruzen himself took several punches, and the punch marks on his face were clearly there. At this time, the anger in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart also boiled, and he was punched several times in the face. Doesn't he want 220 face? Senju Naoki, don't be too sweet. Water style, water dragon bite. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen could finish his words, he and Danzo were hit by the water flow into the sky, and then countless rising water rushed to the two of them in the sky. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew something was wrong, and hurriedly waved the Vajra Rui stick to resist the water that could penetrate the rock. At this moment, the rising water condensed into a water dragon, then bit Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, and then fell from the sky like a shooting star. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked desperate. If it hit the ground, it would definitely be dead. Danzo Kiba took a bite and used the psychic technique to summon the nightmare taper back to the psychic world again to resist the attack for them. Juncture of life and death, Danzo can't care about his psychic beast, not to mention that psychic beast is just a tool in Danzo's eyes, and now is the time to come in handy. Although there are nightmare tapers that can resist the impact, as an S-level Suiten, water style, profound meaning, the power of the water dragon's bite is naturally strong and terrifying. Was channeled by Danzo to resist the attack, turned into minced flesh under the explosion of the water dragon. Both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo were not in a good situation. They all fell to the ground with serious injuries, and their bodies were covered with scars and blood. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo, two cage-level masters, were severely injured by an S-level Suiten, water style, and lost their combat effectiveness. Chapter 219 Orochimaru came. Naoki looked at this ninjutsu that created a pit of several hundred meters, and was extremely horrified. He also understood the ninjutsu that Hyuga-chan manipulated him to release. Suiten, water style created by his second grandfather, but no one can use it again except his second grandfather Senju Tobarama. At this moment, Naoki suddenly felt his body control back, and moved his hands and feet. Naoki felt extra comfortable. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo lying in the deep pit, Naoki's mood was complicated. Although he could take their lives at any time and avenge their Senju clan, Naoki was not happy. Because they were not completely defeated by their own strength, Naoki felt uncomfortable. Describe Naoki in one sentence: it is, sluts are hypocritical. But being hypocritical is hypocritical, it doesn't mean that Naoki will let the two of them go. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo had no ability to resist at this time. They could only cover their wounds and watched Naoki approach them step by step with pain on their faces. Listening to Naoki's footsteps, both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo could feel that the god of death was slowly approaching. Protect the three generations of Hokage-sama, Danzo-sama. Anbu and Genbu, who had been serving as the background board almost all the time, shouted. Looking at Anbu and the root personnel who rushed up, Naoki's hands flew up and down, and anyone who blocked him was beheaded by Naoki mercilessly. However, Anbu and several elite Jonin at the root still held Naoki in the footsteps. Sarutobi Hiruzen watched this scene and smiled bitterly. Although Naoki seems to be weaker than before, but these Anbu ninjas he brought, as well as Danzo's root ninjas, can stop Naoki. Maybe this is retribution. Lord Danzo, hurry up and leave, we can't stop it. Yamanaka Wind shouted loudly. Danzo was expressionless. If he could leave, he would have left by now. Just when Anbu and Genbu couldn't hold on, several large snakes suddenly appeared and bit Naoki. Naoki avoided the large snakes and frowned at the pale-skinned man opposite. Orochimaru teacher. Huh, are you Naoki? Orochimaru asked uncertainly. I didn't expect Orochimaru-sensei to remember me, Naoki said lightly. Orochimaru was very surprised to see that Naoki wasn't dead, but he wasn't surprised when he thought about the relationship between Hyugatatsu and Tsunade. Glancing at Naoki, then Orochimaru looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo lying in the pit. Sarutobi-sensei, you are really embarrassed. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head with a wry smile, and then reminded, be careful of Senju Naoki, he is very strong. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen was careless just now, he was bitten by a water dragon, but even if he was vigilant, he couldn't completely escape, because the ninjutsu was released too quickly, and he couldn't react in time. Really? Then let me, the teacher, test your strength, Naoki. Orochimaru's eyes lit up. Naoki looked at Orochimaru and didn't want to fight anymore. It wasn't that he was concerned about the relationship between master and apprentice, but that he was currently consuming a lot of money, and there was not much chakra left. Next time, I will definitely take your life and seek justice for my Senju people. Naoki said coldly, then took out the forehead that he had kept for a long time, put it on again, and left a mark on it. This scratch means that Naoki and Konoha are completely cut off, and they will be enemies in the future. Don't leave in a hurry, teacher, I haven't tested your strength yet. Orochimaru said. The array of 10,000 serpents. Countless snakes were channeled by Orochimaru. If people with intensive phobia saw it, they would be scared to death by this picture. Naoki, who was about to leave, frowned. If it was before, he might not have attacked the teacher Orochimaru, but now he is different. He has become the missing nin who is the enemy of Konoha. Konoha, who wanted to protect him before, didn't care, let alone Orochimaru, a teacher who had not been a teacher for a long time. Facing the swarm of snakes that were entwining bites and trying to engulf him, Naoki jumped up and used the Great Fireball Jutsu. Although Naoki is not Grandmaster Kaden, fire style, but the huge chakra, his ninjutsu power is destined to be extraordinary. After spending chakra, a 10-meter fireball spewed out of his mouth, and countless large snakes turned into coke. However, facing the large snakes one after another, Naoki's grand fireball was not enough. Especially the big snake that Orochimaru keeps channeling out. One is more than 10 meters long and 20 meters long. Although it is not as big as 10,000 snakes, it is quite scary. Faced with these big snakes, Naoki could only use ninjutsu to kill them. In just a few minutes, Naoki didn't know how many snakes he had killed, but he saw that not only did not decrease, but there were more and more big snakes around, and Naoki didn't either. What a good way. Although Naoki's strength is very strong, he doesn't have that kind of super wide ninjutsu. Although the water dragon bite is also a large-scale ninjutsu, Naoki can't use it himself. It was used by Hyuga-chen to control Naoki before. Looking at the endless Orochimaru, Naoki simply abandoned the serpents and attacked the Orochimaru who summoned the serpent. Rasengan in one hand, nimbly avoiding the attack of the serpent, and then hitting Orochimaru with the Rasengan in his hand. Orochimaru that was hit suddenly turned into mud, and Naoki was taken aback, and then used the teleportation technique to leave the place. Just as Naoki left, a shocking sound came out. Orochimaru had set up a detonating talisman trap in the underground just now. If Naoki was slower, he would definitely be seriously injured. In terms of speed and chakra, I'm not as good as you, but fighting requires wisdom. Orochimaru's hoarse voice came from Naoki's back, and the Kusanagi sword in his hand pierced Naoki's chest. But Orochimaru deliberately deviates from Naoki's vital heart, otherwise Naoki will be GG. Not that Orochimaru wants to be merciful, but he doesn't dare to kill Naoki, otherwise he is afraid that he will kill Naoki with his front foot, and Hyuga-chan will kill him with his hind foot. Naoki-kun, you still need to hone. Orochimaru drew his Kusanagi sword and said lightly. Naoki hurriedly stepped back while clutching the wound, looking at Orochimaru with solemn eyes. This time Orochimaru taught him a lesson, and it also made his proud heart quiet because of his strength. Naoki looked at Orochimaru vigilantly and began to retreat. Although Orochimaru's strength was similar to Danzo's, it was definitely more dangerous than Danzo. For 100 meters, seeing that Orochimaru did not shoot, Naoki left immediately, and a few jumping figures disappeared in front of everyone. Orochimaru, you let this missing nin go, Danzo said angrily. Orochimaru glanced at Danzo lightly, then said, don't forget that Hyuga-chen is still in Konoha. Chapter 220 Naoki leaves Konoha. Danzo looked at Orochimaru, although his heart was angry, but it was not easy to attack. After all, he and Orochimaru were still in a cooperative relationship, and he still had to use Orochimaru. Konoha came in with a missing nin Hyuga-chan. You didn't even investigate the identity of Senju Naoki who entered Konoha with Hyuga-chan. How did you become a Hokage? Danzo, who had nowhere to get angry, saw Sarutobi Hiruzen who was silent, and then vented all his anger on Sarutobi Hiruzen's head. I'm Hokage, I don't need you to accuse me yet. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up with her body up and said coldly. You, Danzo's eyes darkened angrily. Finally, the angry Danzo left with the root ninja angrily. Alas, Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little worried. The house leaked because of the overnight rain. Konoha lost Hitaki Sakumo, and another Senju Naoki who should have died, and then completely turned against Konoha. He is Senju Naoki's strength, although Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't know why Senju Naoki was able to hang him and Danzo before, and was injured by Orochimaru later, but Senju Naoki's strength is really not weak, an absolute cage-level powerhouse, S-level missing nin. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen had a headache. Orochimaru, you go get Jiraiya back. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a headache. Orochimaru nodded and said, I'm only responsible for delivering the 220 message to him. Whether he returns or not is up to him. Ah, it hurts. Naoki yelled miserably in Hyuga-chan's ninja shop. It hurts when it hurts. What are you calling me in my shop? Get out of here and affect my business. Hyuga-chan looked at Naoki, who was screaming in pain while taking the medicine. I've been hurt like this, and you're still so vicious, can't you say something nice? Haha who made you a powerful dish? Would you still be injured if you were powerful? Hyuga-chan said with contempt. It doesn't hurt when I stand talking. I'm facing Orochimaru, one of the Sannin. Naoki finished the medicine, wrapped the gauze, and stood up and said. Okay, don't talk about it, you have a perfect sage body, and even Orochimaru can't even deal with it. You are also living in vain. Hyuga-chen stretched out his hand to shut him up. Naoki looked aggrieved, can he blame him? He has been a farmer all these years, and he has never played against others at all, so he has no combat experience. Hurry up and put away your disgusting expression, be careful I will slap you. Hyuga-chen said blankly, his slap already raised. Naoki was frightened and quickly put away the grievances on his face, he had no doubt that Hyuga-chen would slap him down. You controlled me before. Nonsense, otherwise you can be Danzo and Sandai's opponent, and the two of them can rub you against the ground. Hyuga-chen leaned back on the chair and said with a sip of water. Why did I become so much stronger when you manipulated me? Could it be that you blessed me with power? Naoki asked curiously. Hyuga-chen glanced at Naoki, and said lightly, "Blessing a fart, it's just a skill. With the same power, I can easily play a dozen times or even dozens of times more than you." Oh, Naoki nodded, indicating that he understood, but he didn't know if he really understood, or if he didn't pretend to understand. "I'm leaving Konoha, how about you?" Naoki asked. "Leave as soon as you leave. Of course I'm staying here, and there are still my little apprentices who need to be taught. I won't be so irresponsible, the key is that I have nowhere to go without Konoha." Hyuga-chen spread his hands. "Then I'll call Ueno-sensei, Shikaku, Inoichi, Choza, and the others. After all, they are leaving, so I have to say goodbye to them." Naoki and Hyuga-chen said, and then left the ninja shop. Walking on the street, Naoki, the missing nin, walked with a guilty conscience, as if someone was staring at him everywhere. But obviously he thought too much. Hyuga-chen is in Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen will not trouble Naoki, not to mention Sarutobi Hiruzen is still seriously injured. Soon Naoki took Ueno-sensei and the others back to Hyuga-chen's ninja shop again. This time they didn't go out, but prepared to eat barbecue at Hyuga-chen's shop. With Akamichi Choza, a big foodie, there is no need for Hyuga-chen and the others to do it. Akamichi Choza quickly prepared everything, and foodies are basically equal to chefs. "Good news for everyone, I'm a missing nin now," Naoki exclaimed. Yamanaka Inoichi, who was drinking water, sprayed a sip of water on Narashikaku's face, and Narashikaku wiped his face depressed. "No, what did you just say, Naoki? Is there something wrong with my ears?" Yamanaka Inoichi gave Narashikaku an apologetic smile, then looked at Naoki. "You heard me right, for some reason, I'm a missing nin now." Naoki smiled. This time everyone was silent, they didn't know what happened, and let Naoki, who had dreamed of becoming Hokage, become missing nin. "Naoki, you stinky brat, you've actually become a missing nin. A class of students I teach has 4 missing nin. What does this make others think of me?" Ueno Shuri looked depressed. Hyuga-chen, Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Makoto, and now with a Senju Naoki, this is 4 missing nin at once. Ueno Shuri is speechless, is he not able to teach students? "I am sorry Ueno-sensei." Naoki looked at Ueno Shuri apologetically. "Forget it, you each have your own choices." Ueno Shuri shook his head, not having any prejudice against Naoki because he betrayed the village, and still regarded him as a former student. "Isn't it cool to be a missing nin? If I didn't have a family, I would like to be a missing nin like you," Yamanaka Inoichi said. Ueno Shuri's face was dark, and he slapped Yamanaka Inoichi on the head. Yamanaka Inoichi covered his head with a depressed look on his face. He was just talking and was beaten. "Deserved," Hyuga-chen said gloatingly. "No nonsense, we won't be drunk tonight, but unfortunately I didn't see Minato, and I don't know what mission he is performing. It takes so long," Naoki said with a glass of wine. "Okay, if you don't get drunk, you won't go home." Wasn't until the early hours of the night, when everyone except Hyuga-chen drank and lay down, it stopped completely. Hyuga-chen looked at the guy who was lying on the tatami after being drunk, and shook his head for a while, especially seeing Akamichi Choza nibbling on Yamanaka Inoichi's feet and shouting "big chicken legs." Hyuga-chen wanted to laugh out loud. The night passed quickly, and the next morning, because of the perfect sage body, Naoki, who was the first to wake up, glanced at the sleeping person and walked out. After walking around outside, he didn't see Hyuga-chen. Naoki shook his head helplessly, originally wanted to say goodbye to Hyuga-chen, but now he can't find anyone. Naoki took out a pen and paper, wrote a note, and left Konoha. By the time Narashikaku and the others woke up, Naoki had already left for a long time. After saying goodbye to Hyuga-chen, they also left Hyuga-chen's ninja shop.